Namaskar, Jai Jagannath, Vande Utkala Janani. I'm Anchor Shobna Mishra. On behalf of Department of Women and Child Development, Government of Odisha and UNICEF Odisha, let me extend a warm welcome to all our esteemed dignitaries and invitees to the second day of this brilliant two-day state conclave on take-home ration. Can we start the morning with a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you so much. So before I speak more, may I invite the honorable chairs to the stage to get started with today's sessions. May I invite esteemed Principal Secretary, Women and Child Development Department, Srimati Shubha Sharma IAS to the dais, please. Namaskar, ma'am. I would invite Director ICDS and SW Women and Child Development Department, Ms. Monisha Banerjee IAS to the dais, please. Namaskar, ma'am. Now may we invite our dignitary, esteemed Chief Field Office UNICEF Odisha, Mr. William J. Hanlon to the dais, please. A very good morning and welcome, sir. And could we have our special dignitary, esteemed Deputy Country Director, UN World Food Programme India, Ms. Nozomi Hashimoto to the dais, please. Namaskar, ma'am. A very, very good morning. Now, we have greeted and felicitated all our dignitaries on the stage. But Mr. William, we would like to extend a warm welcome to you. May I invite our team with the Uttariya and the planter. I would invite our Additional Secretary, Department of Women and Child Development Department, Shri Nityananda Barik to the stage to kindly greet and, yes, okay, we have our Director, Madam. Right. Our Additional Secretary, sir, is greeting and welcoming our guest, Mr. William J. Hanlon, Chief Field Office, UNICEF Odisha. A warm welcome, sir, and thank you, Shri Barik. I would request you all to kindly have your seats. Thank you so much. Off the dais, I extend a warm welcome to all our special dignitaries, a representative of all the states and special institutions, all our stakeholders. Thank you so much for your presence for the 2 days. Now we are at Bhubaneswar, the temple city, the smart city, a planned city. We hope you are having a good time here as we had a great first day yesterday. We have had wonderful brainstorming sessions, wonderful presentation, and then afterwards the question answer sessions were really engaging. I would like to thank every single dignitary out here for extending your all attention towards all the sessions brilliantly, and today I believe we are going to add a lot more to the discussion. And if you have heard of the places that we have to offer for you to get exposure to, Lingaraj Temple, Mukteshwar Temple, Raja Rani Temple, Kedar Gauri Temple, we have Khandagiri, Udayagiri Caves, we have Dhauli Santi Stupa or the Peace Pagoda, we have numerous Museum of Natural History, State Museum, Tribal Art and Craft, and so many things. And of course, you know about Lord Jagannath Puri, and some of our dignitaries have also been there. So in the spirit of Lord Sri Jagannath, can we all say Jai Jagannath together, raising our hands? Jai Jagannath. Thank you so much, madams and sirs. Thank you so much. We hope Lord Jagannath blesses you all with lot of peace, happiness, and prosperity in the lives. And obviously, your work will contribute to so many people today and in future as well. Thank you so much, everyone, for all the smiles in your faces. It shows you all are in great spirit, high energy. Taking that, let us begin with today's session. First, I would invite for a tribal viewpoint, cultural significance, food diversity, and take-home rations presentation and address, I would invite Professor Akhil Bihari Ota, IAS, retired, to the dais. Please, with a round of applause, let us welcome Shri Ota to the stage. And before Sir begins with his address, may I invite our Additional Secretary, Shri Nityananda Barik, to kindly greet Shri Ota on the dais.
bit more comfortable if I'll be given a mic.
Thank you, Sri Barik. I would request Sri Otar, sir, to kindly get started with the presentation.
Esteemed Principal Secretary, Women and Child Development Department, Director, Social Welfare, State Chief, UNICEF, and Deputy Director, United Nations World Food Programme, senior, secretaries, directors who have come from 9 different states, I understand, and UNICEF team, other dignitaries, and friends. I deem it a privilege as I have been given an opportunity to be a part of this very important, 2-day conclave. I congratulate, Women and Child Development Department for organizing such a very, important, conclave. Well, I have been listening all the day yesterday, and we have got, a picture of different states as to how they are, implementing THR, the good practices, and even lessons learned also they have put forth. But I'll be speaking on a completely different topic, and I'll be giving a tribal viewpoint, the cultural significance, food diversity, and in this respect, I'll advocate for a THR with a different look, particularly for the tribal pockets of the state and of the country. Having said that, I have divided my presentation into 7 or 8 parts. I'll be very, very brief. I'll give you the overview of scheduled tribes in Odisha to those who have come from outside. I'll also say food source diversity in tribal geographies, the national vulnerability, nutritional vulnerability of tribal population in Odisha, taking 6 parameters from NFHS data, food and nutritional security, challenges in tribal areas. There are so many, but I'll speak a few. And take-home ration in context, and particularly the innovative approach that Odisha has adopted in energizing THR. Though Director Social Welfare has already spoken about it, then major staple agricultural producers and minor forest produce in tribal districts of Odisha. And what is so significant about tribal food diversity? And I will give my own, suggestions for making THR more performing, developing region-specific THR guidelines, and at the end, I'll give 6 or 7, suggestions to make THR in tribal pockets more efficient. Friends, as you know, Odisha is regarded as homeland of the tribals. It houses 64 tribal communities out of 708 tribal communities in the country, which is having the highest number of tribal communities by any single state. We have 13 particularly vulnerable tribal groups out of 75 that the country has. And when you look at the tribal population, we had in 2011 census 95 lakh population. Yesterday I was trying to make a projection. If you go by the projection, you'll find now Odisha has got about 1.2 crore tribal population. And every 4th person in the state is a tribal. As you find, 22.85% population are tribals. And there are 25,000, little more than 25,000 habitations where tribals reside. The PT is out of 25,000, habitations, there are 12,000 such habitations which is not having a all-weather road, And in about little more than 7,000, less than 7,500 habitations are there which are not connected at all by road. So that's the situation, I must say. And if you look, about the distribution, the geographies, you find in Northern Plateau, Eastern Ghats, Central Table, and coastal, tracts, we have equal proportion of tribal population that you find. Almost everywhere about 25% of tribal population. And if you look at the development of tribals, there are 3 stages, the pivot stages. Some tribals are in transition and some tribals are assimilated. I'm not going to give you the numbers, but the numbers with parameters is available with me. And the major tribal habitats are in hilly terrains, challenged by geographical barriers and connectivity. If you look, culture, the tribals are very culture bound in Odisha as is everywhere, and they're mostly dependent on agriculture and forest resources for their survival. You see, if you look at the food source diversity in tribal geographies, again, I'm taking those, 4 geographies into consideration. Northern Plateau, Eastern Ghat you'll find, Central Table, and Coastal Tract. You find the major crops I have already indicated. I'm not going to read it out. And there are also wild edibles which have very high nutritional value. We have not done any systematic approach to document that. Some documentations have been attempted, and it is worth going in for a mapping exercise and to do scientifically the nutritional value, tested, so that we can go ahead with some kind of plans and programs. Now, friends, coming to nutritional vulnerability of tribal population in Odisha, I have taken, 6 parameters from NFHS. True, if you compare NFHS 4 data with NFHS 5 and look at the state average, national average, you will find, a steep decline, which is a positive, thing. You see, the IMR, CMR has declined. You find under 5 mortality to have declined, teenage pregnancy to have declined, and children in the age, 6 to 59 months having anemia also has increased, during NFHS 5 from NFHS 4. Institutional delivery has appreciably increased. But when you look at the tribal data, in respect of Odisha, there are 3 such parameters which gives you a very, sad story and area of concern. They are IMR. It has increased from 51.8 to 55.9 in FHS 5. Under 5 mortality has also increased. And what is most important is children in the age 6 to 59 months having anemia has significantly increased from 58.4 to 72.9. So this shows that we need to concentrate more on the tribals who constitute, 25% of the total state's population, and something different needs to be, thought about. If you see under nutrition status across social categories again, you see the severe, severely wasted, severely stunted, and underweight, percentage has increased, not increased, is much higher compared to the scheduled caste and other backward, classes in Odisha. So these are also area of concern. And you see, when you go to food and nutritional security, what are the challenges in tribal areas? You find there are a couple of issues with access to food due to remoteness. Then you find limited land ownership and access to traditional forest produce due to legal and environmental restrictions. You also see the malnutrition, especially among women and children, to be high. And land use, changing subsistence economy, and deforestation and climate impacts are also challenges which needs to be looked at. If you look at challenges, few more challenges in tribal areas, you find food taboos and traditional restraints. Cultural factors are there, which is leading to low acceptance level of different kinds of food which are given as a program. For example, yesterday somebody was speaking powdered milk. You see, powdered milk the tribals are not familiar with. And if you give them powdered milk, it will not go to their diet. So we have to think over it as to how cow milk has to be substituted. THR goes to the family food basket. Yesterday we have discussed it very widely. This is something which is very serious. Whether this can be addressed, how it can be addressed also is a million-dollar question. And if you look at teen-age marriage and motherhood in teenage, it is a very prevalent practice in case of tribals. Well, things are improving, but the way things are improving at such a slow pace, I think it needs to be accelerated. So what is the way out for this? And you still find spacing to be very less between two children among tribal communities. That is also putting both the mother and the child into the malnutrition trap. Another thing which I must tell you, madam, which we had done in 2019-20 when I was Director Tribal Research Institute in collaboration with ICMR, RMRC, we did a disease prevalence survey amongst all the PVTGs, all 13 PVTGs in Odisha. And we came up with, startling, findings. And those findings, if you really look at, you'll really know probably we are only, putting the stone. If it hits the bullseye, we are saying that we are successful. And if it is not hitting, then it is not hitting. Like that, we must know where the shoe pinches, where the problem lies, and disease prevalence survey of all the tribal communities is highly essential, as we have done for the PVTGs. It needs collaborative approach. In silos, probably Women and Child Development Department won't be able to do it. You see, if you go to take-home ration, I would just like to tell you, this is known, but then I am forced to repeat. THR, as you know, is an important component of integrated child development services, which is a comprehensive strategy to combat malnutrition. It started in 1975. In fact, this conclave is done. I should tell you, madam, I should remind you, this is the 50th year of the start of ICDS program. And I had done a PhD on infant mortality, taking ICDS interventions into consideration way back in 1984. That time, can you imagine, the infant mortality rate among the tribal was 275 in a particular, Gram Panchayat that I did study. I went back to that area in 2022. A student of mine has done a PhD, again on infant mortality in the same GP. And you'll be very happy to know that it has come down to 67 or 68, as against 275 that time. Which means, ICDS program has helped, THR program has helped, but it has to have more teeth so that quick, response can be seen, the visibility can be seen, and probably we should come to a stage where take-home ration will not be a regular thing that has to be supplied by government. It will be sustainable and the people should be on their own. That's my approach. And if you look at Odisha, already, the madam Director, Social Welfare, I saw in 10 different districts what are the major agricultural producers and what are the minor forest products that the tribals habit. If you really look at it and if you would like to examine it very scientifically, you will find that many of those agricultural producers and minor forest producers have very rich content which needs to be examined, re-examined, and there are also regional variations. Millets you find here, millets you find there. You find a lot of difference so far as the its nutritional value is seen. So it needs to be done before we embark upon THR, regional THR, looking tribal pockets into consideration. Now, coming to the it's not working. Can you- Okay. So the significance of tribal food diversity. So what is the significance of tribal food diversity? I have tried to jot down a few points I would like to share with you. In fact, it depends upon local agroecological situation, indigenous knowledge and utilization of wild food sourced from forest. Their diets typically include, you must have seen, a variety of cereals such as millets, maize, pulses, tubers, leafy greens, fruits and wild edibles that hold cultural and nutritional importance, offering high nutrient density and drought resistance. Wild edibles contribute significantly to the diet, ensuring both dietary diversity and resilience against food insecurity. If you look at the culinary practices, you'll find minimal processing and traditional cooking methods retain nutrients. And such diversity contributes to health and nutrition in most of the tribal pockets. I'll tell you how to go about it. But again, if you see, you'll find cultural significance, leveraging local grown crops and MMPs, promotion of indigenous food system, tribal traditional food habits can contribute to both cultural preservation and improved nutrition. You also see support for traditional dietary preferences. THR can be tailored to the dietary preferences of tribal communities, making it culturally acceptable and nutritionally familiar. You can also see empowerment of women through local production. THR programs involve local women's groups in food preparation and distribution, promoting income generation. You can also see another component, reduction of seasonal vulnerability and enhancement of health and nutritional practices. In fact, THR can play a role in educating tribal families about balanced diets and nutrition, creating a bridge between cultural practices and improved health outcomes. It also will tailor THR in tribal areas of Odisha will address food security and reinforce cultural identity. I would suggest that we can move towards making, or the government can think of moving towards making THR more performing by developing region-specific THR guidelines. You see, we must define THR packages by agroecological zone. You see, whatever you say, my thought I'm just sharing. And create THR packages, in fact, as I have said, tailored to Odisha's distinct agroecological zones. Each THR package can include a mix of local grains, pulses, oil seeds, and nutrient-dense wild edibles native to each. And we can also think of standardizing nutrition targets, adapt ingredients. While maintaining core nutritional requirements, specific components of the THR can be adapted to incorporate regional foods. We can think of pilot region-specific THR in select tribal areas, implementing and testing. Then we can roll out plan, insights into logistical requirements, community feedback, cost effectiveness and all that. It needs a lot of debate, but though. Then towards making THR more performing, I must tell you that we must evaluate the pilot results, integrate recommendation in policy through ICDS, and advocate for a policy with the Department of Women and Child Development, with Agriculture Department, with Ministry of Tribal Affairs, who are very keen. In fact, the other day I was in a committee and we were discussing on it, and they are so open to this. And state policies to officially endorse region-specific THR guidelines. Madam, these are all suggestions, you see. We are not trying to put, this on the government to mandatorily to do this, but these are some of the things which we can think of. And we can leverage on local institutions for procurement and distribution, which is done. Documentation and dissemination for wider adoption. You see, what will be the recommended approach for THR from tribal viewpoint is I see. Incorporate region-specific foods, as I have already said, that are culturally significant, nutrient dense and aligned with seasonal cycles. Respect traditional food habits by including familiar ingredients that can be prepared using tribal cooking techniques. Promote local sourcing and processing through SHGs and local farmers, fostering ownership and economic benefits within the community. And enable community participation in THR planning and feedback, ensuring the program reflects tribal autonomy, preferences, and ecological knowledge. My last slide will be suggestions to make the existing THR in tribal pockets more efficient. I have just jotted down some points. Social and behavior change communication to be an integral part of THR. UNICEF, in collaboration with Women and Child Development Department, have demonstrated during COVID time, in the PVTG pockets, and it has really worked out. So that's a model which has been said, and SBCC as an overarching, model should be an integral part of THR, particularly in tribal areas. If we want to see that the acceptance becomes 100%. Second, mapping major agricultural crops and MFPs and scientific analysis of their nutritional values in tribal pockets. Madam, we have host of list that you find from the register, but a systematic mapping exercise is yet to be done. I believe that needs to be done in collaboration with the agriculture department and forest department too. And a scientific analysis of nutritional values need to be done. And culinary habits to be mapped out. Look, I have already done a culinary habit study of all the tribal communities of the state. I have brought out a book, madam, that's in Oriya. I can share it with you, and that can also help you too. And I told you about studying the disease prevalence in tribal pockets. That needs to be there in your scheme of things, in your agenda. And pregnant women and lactating mothers to be provided cooked hot food instead of THR as far as possible, excluding the far-flung habitations. That should be our effort. That is, apart from the tribal things that I told you, this is something is a generic kind of a recommendation. and powdered milk to be replaced by cow milk to the extent possible. These days, government is also promoting cows to be kept by SHGs. I think you can think of this to be incorporated. And I remember 10, 12 years back, maybe 15 years back, there was a very progressive Principal Secretary, Women and Child Development Department. I had the occasion of working with him. He's a good friend of mine, Dr. S.B. Agnihotri. What he did, he had started incentivizing the ICDS workers. So evaluation was done, an annual evaluation was done, and who stands first, second till 20th, they were listed out, and they were sent to Singapore. They were sent, to some other areas on an exposure visit, which is a kind of incentive for the achievers. So some kind of incentive mechanism needs to be put in place so that a competitive spirit will come, even amongst the ICDS workers, the entire team, even the mothers committee, so that, you incentivize them, you can get result, it will be result oriented, which will probably give a push to THR, which can happen at a little faster pace. Madam, these are my very honest, suggestions without, any data I have tried to show you. But at the end, I must tell you, tribals should be respected so far as their culture is concerned. We should try to see how culture come development, both, are put together in a very balanced mode so that their culture can be protected and our intentions can be achieved. And at the same time, I should also tell you and all our esteemed senior officers who have come from different states that THR should not be seen as a kind of package which will go for centuries to come. Already we have completed 50 years. We should not go with that kind of a, free dole kind of an approach for ages to come. We must see how it becomes sustainable, how the people can be on their own in at least next 1 to 2 decades time. Since Odisha is approaching to 2036 as completion of 100 years of separation of a state, I think we should target 2036 as the year after which the people should be sufficiently educated, they should be on their own, and THR as a package should not be provided by government, and people will be absolutely on their own and they will be empowered fully. Thank you.
Check. Hello. Thank you very much, Professor Akhil Bihari Ota, IAS retired. Sir, thank you very much for your detailed presentation on tribal viewpoint, cultural significance, food diversity, and take-home rations. Thank you so much. And now we are going to go for another address. I would invite Shri Hemang Shah from CIFF to kindly come forward and share his views on the 2-day state conclave on take-home ration. Shri Hemang Shah.
Thank you so much. Respected Principal Secretary Ma'am, respected Director, officials from World Food Programme and UNICEF, officials from different states, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning. I think ICDS in India is a unique platform which is not available in many other countries. and CIF as an organization. So Children's Investment Fund Foundation is the largest philanthropy globally working for children, and we work closely with state governments, central governments, with UN bodies. We provide funding support to UNICEF, WHO, and host of Indian NGOs, as well as social innovators like Vadhwani Foundation, different universities in India, for public health research, for nutrition research, for technical support for large-scale programs. And I think this has been a two-day platform where great sort of sharing and learning is happening, and some of the problems or some of the challenges that we face in India will have to have Indian solution. And as Professor also mentioned, some of those Indian solutions will come from different states, but there is also a lot of merit in sharing those best practices with and among different states. So I quickly wanted to make 5 points where CIF can play a role towards this journey, and 2 requests. Number 1 is CIF will be glad to provide funding support for different kinds of technical assistance through the likes of UNICEF or WHO or other local academic institutions, local institutions, which can then closely work with state governments for initiating and scaling up some of the initiatives that we have been discussing since yesterday. We can also work with different multilateral institutions, including World Bank, ADB, if there is a need of CapEx support. So there was interesting discussion that we heard yesterday from Amul. And if there is a need of any kind of CapEx support to start some of those innovations or some of those initiatives at state, we also closely work with a few multilateral institutions to think about innovative financing mechanisms which can provide fiscal space for newer innovations. Second, as a follow-up of this particular event, if there is a need or appetite or inclination for any cross-learning visits between state governments, we can also work with development partners to facilitate some of those cross-learning visits to take some of these initiatives further. Third, if there are specific innovations, we heard a great deal about some of the pioneering work that has now been initiated on preconception care. So as we had been discussing during lunch yesterday, there are identified drivers from the available literature in India and globally, which are leading to issues of low birth weight, which are leading to the issues of preterm birth or small for gestational babies, and how that affects the long-term, not just physical growth of children, but also neurocognitive development. And in the list of those, some of those packages are already part of government programs, including maternal infection, maternal nutrition, clinical care during pregnancy, age at pregnancy, spacing between pregnancy. But there are also areas where probably more evidence needs to be generated in terms of what is the appropriate package, which includes preconception care, which includes adolescent health and nutrition, to identify what are the appropriate outcome indicators. So we would also be happy to work with technical agencies, development partners, state governments, to think through both the what as well as how of some of these newer interventions like preconception care. Fourth, we also heard a great presentation from the team from NIN. And I also hear, and in our interactions with examples in India of combining behavior change communication packages with take-home rations. And again, we'll be happy to support through development partners in terms of combining effective behavior change communication with the take-home ration, both receipt as well as consumption. There is a lot of data on receipt of take-home rations, but there is very limited data on consumption. So it might also be a good idea to have some more information on what is the consumption for intended beneficiaries, and it might not be very difficult to get that data, and that particular data can also help to define what are some of the interventions that can help us to increase the consumption of take-home rations for the intended beneficiaries. So those were the 5 sort of support areas that CIF can work with UNICEF, with other development partners, with state governments. There are also 2 requests. One is on the data front. Within the government system, there is a lot of input related and process related data, but within the systems, probably it might also help if we can start getting some outcome level data. so that we don't have to wait for NFHS to tell us that what are the areas that we might need to improve. So consumption of THR might be a very good starting point, or dietary diversity for pregnant women and lactating mothers could be a very good starting point, that within the government system we can get some of the outcome level data. The second is also a request that such knowledge sharing platforms, again thanks to Orissa government, this is a unique sort of initiative which seldom happens, and probably we can work with development partners to also document when state governments are coming together to share some of these learnings, and this could also be sort of shared at global platforms, that how subnational governments within India are coming together to think through about innovation and also share these best practices, and we can work together to come up with a sort of white paper which can be then shared at global platforms of efforts of subnational governments in India to think about innovations and share innovations. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shri Hemang Shah, for your views. Now we have a presentation from World Food Program on innovations in THR, leveraging THR to prevent malnutrition. To get started with the presentation, may I invite Dr. Sharika Yunus Khan, Head Nutrition and School Feeds, World Food Program India, to the dais, please, with a round of applause. Dr. Sharika Yunus Khan. And I would invite our Additional Secretary, Shri Nityananda Barik, to kindly come on the stage and greet Dr. Khan, please. Welcome on the stage, madam. Please, I would request you to start with the presentation, and thank you, Shri Barik.
Good morning, everyone. A very good morning to the dignitaries on and off the dais. I'll be probably talking a bit about how the take-home rations can also be used as an entry point to prevent malnutrition. We've heard a lot about how the take-home rations can be augmented and used for the treatment of severe acute malnutrition and MAM, but how can it also be used for preventing malnutrition is what I'm going to be talking about. I guess as the World Food Program, you pretty much know us, but the World Food Program works very differently in the Indian context. We are primarily a food aid organization which works in emergency situations, but in India we largely work as a technical assistance partner to the state governments as well as the governments at the national level. And our focus is largely on the food-based safety nets and how we can bring in more efficiency and nutritional effectiveness. So as we work largely in India on technical assistance and how we can improve the efficiency of the food-based safety nets as well as its nutritional effectiveness. We work on what we feel is a very tested approach for us, which is a four-phased approach, starting with a large-scale pilot, at least at a district level, and then taking the learnings of the pilot for replication both at the national level as well as the state level. And this approach has been successful for us in the recent experience that we've had with rice fortification, which started with the state of Orissa and now is a national level intervention throughout all the food-based safety nets. I won't dwell too much on India's nutritional challenges. We've heard about it enough. Just to draw your attention to the fact that only about 11% of our children consume an adequate diet. Now, why should we focus on take-home rations? Take-home rations are given to children between 6 months to 3 years of age and to pregnant lactating women. And this is the group which seamlessly juxtaposes the first 1,000-day window of opportunity. And if we could make improvements in take-home rations for this particular age group, then probably we could also play a role in preventing malnutrition. We all understand the importance of the first 1,000 days. Again, I wouldn't dwell on it too much. But what we also know from UNICEF's rapid survey on children or from the National Family Health Survey is that the take-home ration also acts as a gateway to the other ICDS services. So amongst the different ICDS services, the maximum takeoff is of the take-home ration. And if we could leverage that point, it would also have a relevance for improving access to other services through the ICDS. These are the WHO guidelines for complementary feeding of infants and young children. Here again, there's a lot of emphasis on dietary diversity, providing a diverse diet, and I would just request you to keep some of these points in mind as we go through the successive slides. There's a lot of focus on ensuring that foods high in sugar and high in trans fats should not be consumed by these age groups. And we did discuss, we had some feedback yesterday from Chhattisgarh, but how do you then improve the acceptability of such foods for young children? And also the provision of fortified food products. So this is one slide that I'll probably spend a bit more time on. What I've tried to do is compare the recommended dietary allowances for calories for the children's age group with, and assuming that all of these children are breastfed, which they ideally should be, with what is actually the energy gap which needs to be fulfilled through complementary foods as proposed by the World Health Organization. And then where is it that we stand with the NFSA norms 2013? So actually the gap that needs to be fulfilled by complementary foods for children 6 to 8 months is only about 200 kilocalories, where the ICDS provides 500 kilocalories. And then we often mull on the fact that why is there so much of sharing of the product? It's but obvious that the product would be shared because what the child can consume or needs to consume is so much more lesser. Also, these 200 kilocalories that the World Health Organization recommends does not necessarily need to come all from the take-home rations. The ICDS was designed as a supplement and not to fill the entire energy or the entire protein gaps. So for the younger children, with the current norms, we are providing an excess of close to 298 kilocalories. For children between 9 to 12 months, again, what needs to be fulfilled through complementary foods is about 300 kilocalories, whereas the system provides 500 kilocalories, so there's an excess there as well. For children 12 to 24 months, the requirement is for 550 kilocalories. What we're providing is 500 kilocalories. But again, not everything needs to be provided by the THR. Now, we do have the new NFSA norms, which to my mind are still not gone under implementation because there's clarity expected from the national government on what will be the cost norms for the new NFSA norms. The new NFSA norms are beginning to get a bit more aligned to the larger gaps as far as of what needs to be fulfilled through complementary foods, but still slightly on the higher side. But to the credit of the new NFSA norms, it does define, it goes beyond just calories and proteins. It talks about the quality of proteins, it talks about cereal pulse ratio, it talks about micronutrients and the level of micronutrients. But with the current norms, we do have this issue of sharing within families. We are probably giving a less diverse diet, in some way contributing to moving children off the breast earlier than required because we are giving such a high caloric norm. So those are some things that need to be considered at the policy level. And if some of these things can also be pushed by the respective state governments, then hopefully the policy can get aligned as we see that it's getting aligned as well. I will talk a bit about some of the work that we've done as an organization. In 2019, we mapped what is given as take-home rations across the country. That was mapped largely looking at younger children, and then with Niti Aayog, we came out with a publication on what are the good practices on take-home rations. Some of this may still be relevant, but hearing the presentations from the state governments yesterday, I thought there was so much progress that has been made over the years. So if we look at adherence to the ICDS GOI norms, given that it's covered under the ambit of the NFSA, there's largely alignment to the caloric and protein norms. However, in meeting those caloric and protein norms, what most states do, and probably they do it because of the financial issues, is that they use wheat. It's largely very heavily wheat-dominated products. The source of protein is largely soya. And then whatever is the gap is fulfilled with sugars. In the analysis that we did, the average energy contribution from sugars was as high as 30%, which is a nutritionally deficit product, which may be meeting the larger caloric norms, but it doesn't really do much for the nutrition of the child per se. The modes of production at that point varied between private companies. It had public sector units, public sector enterprises like Telangana Foods. And then, of course, there were also the decentralized model where the Women's Self-Help Group was producing. As an organization, we don't have any preference for a model, and frankly, both the models, whether it's centralized or whether it's decentralized, has its pros and cons. And it's really difficult to choose a model. When we talk about consumer acceptance, what the study brought across was limited acceptability of what was distributed as take-home rations. There was a huge amount of monotony attached to the products per se, and oftentimes, though state governments and national governments invest so much on supplementary nutrition and on take-home ration, but the Anganwadi worker at the field level sees her responsibility only as picking up the take-home ration and passing it on to the caregivers of the beneficiaries or the beneficiaries. There's absolutely no link of take-home rations at that point in time within the larger social behavior change communication that should be done on infant and young child feeding, and use of the products, etc., for, with the right labeling, packaging design, etc., and to use them as a source of SPCC is a lost opportunity. This is just the global guidance of what a product, and when I say product, I'm largely talking about fortified blended foods, what ideally a product should look like. So, the product should ideally be providing about 100 to 150 kilocalories. It needs to have a certain amount of caloric density. It needs to be fed as a semi-solid product. There are guidance in place in terms of the PDCAS value as well as the percentage energy requirement from proteins and fats. Sugars is preferably less than 10%, which Dr. Arlappa also talked about yesterday. And WHO is gradually reducing it to less than 5%. In fact, in many Western countries, what's fed to young toddlers is products which are devoid of sugar and devoid of salt. And it's actually about setting the right practices from the word go. If you start feeding toddlers from very early on in their ages which products which have no sugar or salt with them, then that becomes the habit. And therefore changing habits later doesn't really, you don't have to make those changes later. Milk should ideally be a good part of whatever is given as these products. And I've often heard from states about issues of shelf life, about issues of, the shelf life would reduce, it will have implications on the supply chain. Not really. In UP, and ma'am will talk about it in much more detail, but the skim milk powder is a part of the take-home rations, and it has a solid shelf life about 3 months. It needs to be fortified with micronutrients, both type 1 and type 2, and we heard Ms. Sufia also talk about it yesterday, and the importance not just of limited micronutrient profiles, but of having a much more larger profile of micronutrients. And of course, the labeling and the packaging must comply to the International Code of Marketing of Breast Milk Substitutes. When we looked at the study level on quality assurance and quality control, interestingly, in 2019, when the study was undertaken, there were only 12 states that could get back to us in terms of any quality assurance or any quality control being done, which is, again, a very dangerous space to be in because you're giving products to young children and pregnant lactating women who are the most vulnerable, and you don't have quality assurance and quality control protocols in place. The responsibility, where it was a private sector model, of doing quality assurance and quality control of the product was left to the private sector, which again has its own implications. It needs to be independent. There was really, if at all quality control was being done in the 12 states that I'm referring to, it was very perfunctory and lip service. The frequency of sample collection could vary anywhere from monthly to quarterly. If the samples were collected and tested, the results came out much later. The product had already been consumed and distributed and consumed. And if the results were completely off, there was absolutely no punitive action attached to it. The only two states where there was some punitive action was actually the state of Odisha and the state of Rajasthan. So as the World Food Programme, we work on a systemic approach of all the areas that we've tried to enumerate. We're working with several state governments around improving the nutritional composition of take-home rations. Also product design and development. What I have understood from several states, it's just about putting different constituents together, which really is not the case. It needs to be taken through a process of R&D. As we heard the gentleman from Amul talking about it yesterday, it needs to go through shelf life analysis. It needs to go through acceptability trials, and then further fine-tuning the product. We've largely been working in the states where we work through a decentralized women's self-help group model. Again, not to say that we favor one model over the other, but that's the decision of the state governments, and in all those states of Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, and Odisha, we're working on a women's self-help group model. Haryana, where we've just entered, we are working on a more centralized model. And you see Kerala. Kerala is a part of work that has already been completed and handed over to the state government. We work on quality assurance, quality control protocols, labeling, packaging, and SBCC. Linked to it the capacity building of the Anganwadi workers, which is also a very, very important piece. Otherwise, the product can be the best, but if nobody teaches the community on how the product is to be consumed and how the product is to be used, then it's a bit of a waste of an effort. Again, reiterating that we're not in favor of one model over the other, but what we've seen in a decentralized model and what works probably or attracts state governments is it helps them in double ticking of two objectives. It helps them in double ticking of the objective on nutrition, but it also helps them in generating income, and it helps in women empowerment. For these decentralized production models, there's a lot of procurement that happens at the local level, and therefore it pushes local economies. The community as such, because most of these women come from the same community in which the product is being consumed, therefore the community ownership of this entire effort is much more. When you have just one or two private sector suppliers providing this product, there's a lot of the shelf life of the product being spent in the supply chain, whereas this is a much more closer connect. The product is being produced at the block level and then also being consumed within the block level, and therefore it also has an improved access. With that, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sharika Yunus Khan, Head Nutrition and School Feeds WFP India, for the beautiful presentation. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we go forward for the state presentations. So first, ladies and gentlemen, let us start with Uttar Pradesh. And I would request Principal Secretary, Department of Women and Child Development, Uttar Pradesh, Mrs. Leena Johari, IAS, Madam, to kindly come on the stage with a round of applause. Let's welcome Madam. Before I request Madam to get started with the presentation, may I invite our Director, Ms. Monisha Banerjee, to kindly greet and welcome Student Principal Secretary, DWCD Uttar Pradesh, on the dais, please. Thank you, Madam Director, and I would request Madam to kindly get started with the presentation.
Thank you for this opportunity for me and the State 2 project, what we have been doing for past few years. Thank you, Shubha, Director WCD and ICDS, representative of World Food Program, country chief office, chief field office, UNICEF, and members of the dais, representative from different states. Indeed, it was a great pleasure to hear you yesterday. I missed a couple of presentations, my loss, but whatever presentations I heard, I think it was very enriching, and it was good to know that all of us are in the same boat. Some person is slightly ahead, some are struggling. We are somewhere in between, struggling to find out a mean between the take-home ration. Somebody says it has to be grinded, just you have to mix water or milk and it can be eaten, which I don't buy, because I think that until and unless the person masticates, or even you are forcing the child to chew on or use his or her little mouth to develop a taste and salivate, then we don't get the joy of eating. And we talked about the monotony of the food being given time and again. We can very easily relatable. If we as adults cannot eat same food day in, day out, so how can you force a child or a small person to have it on a daily basis? So therein lies our creativity and how to use the THR. So this is a very brief presentation. I'm not saying everything is hunky-dory in the state of UP, but we are trying to do our bit. We are a huge state. Some people say it's a country. 75 districts. I won't state the population because that will be difficult to absorb. But we are 75 districts and we have 1,89,000 Anganwadi centers. So that's it. I would not go into deeper detail. So it's a joint, how it started, it was a joint collaboration between Uttar Pradesh Rural Livelihood Mission, how we decided upon the THR, which is called UPSRLM, Department of RD, and ICDS in January 2021. And WFP assisted us, rather the SRLM, in setting up the initial 2-3 plants which were set up in the state as a concept of proof or whatever you can say. So Sharika was saying we run a pilot, then we scale it up, etc., etc. So I think it was in that sense we started that way. So it started well, and we scaled up to 204 THR units in 43 districts. So 75 are still not covered, and all is not good in all these 43 districts also. But efforts are being made to see that how things can be made better. Each THR micro enterprises are association of persons which employ 20 rural self-help group women. So and each cover 1, 2, 3 blocks, and in the districts or the blocks where SRLM is not able to supply, NAFED steps in and it provides the THR, although not the same way, but fortified grains, rice, dalia, oils, etc., which I will come in later part of the presentation. Sorry. So this is the composition as we see. The age group, we have different type. There is a atta besan halwa, which is sweet, which is given to the different age group. And the composition, as you can see, which was mentioned, that it is a wheat, chana dal, SMP, sugar, and oil, and VMP, which is the vitamins which are added on. Then for pregnant and lactating women, We have the atta besan barfi, which is a sweet premix. And there is a savory also, which is dalia, moong dal, and khichdi. So there is a combination for the variety. And you can see that it is also done in consultation with NIN. So this is the calorific value and the energy compliant. Then for the adolescent girl, which is between the age of 14 to 18, now these are supplied only in the aspirational districts. So we have this atta besan barfi premix, same as pregnant lactating women, and our dalia moong dal khichdi. The quantity is almost same, and you can see the packets which are given, the amount which is consumed. Then children aged between 2 to 6 years, there is atta besan barfi premix and dalia moong dal khichdi. Again, a mix of both the things, sweet and salty taste, so that to break the monotony. And severely under malnourished children are also given energy dense halwa, which is a additionality to top up the requirement for them. Next. So this is the THR which is supplied by the NAFED in the remaining blocks and the districts. For 6 months to 3-year children, we supply fortified wheat dalia, fortified rice, fortified Bengal gram, and a fortified oil packet, in which they can use it according to their taste, according to their preference. The fortified dalia can be made sweet, can be added with dal, can be used as a khichdi, and the rice can be also used as a khichdi. And for children 3 to 6 years, same thing, but the quantity varies according to the calorie requirement. Same for pregnant and lactating women, which is slightly higher, as you can see, 1.5 kg is given, in which 60 grams to be consumed within a day, and this rice and Bengal gram and oil. So this is the THR which is given. How we do the THR where SRLM is involved. So Department of WCD gives operation advance to procure, and then the take-home ration production units, they produce they locally procure all the raw materials, sugar, pulses, spices, salt, except the very high value commodities like the SMP, VMP, and the packaging rolls, which is done by UPSRLM centrally, because this is a high value added things, and this is done in a more say cost effective way if it is done centrally. Then once this is produced, this is sent for the to the labs for the testing, and only after testing, when the lab test comes, then it is sent to the Anganwadis to supply to the Anganwadi centers, where it is supplied, and the Anganwadi then supply it to the beneficiary, and they take their rolls and they fill the requisite forms after the distribution. So once this is distribution, they send the slips to the after distribution to the SRLM, wherein it is sent to ICDS for the payment, and at the same parallelly the beneficiaries get the take-home ration with them. This is the how we manage the supply chain. It's a recipe. How do you push it upwards? हाँ ठीक है, थोड़ा slide के ऊपर, हाँ बस ठीक. So the supply chain management, I will just share it, how it is done by SRLM and how it is done by NAFED. Not much difference, but there is a slight difference that there are over now 200 Ajivika vehicles owned by the units for transportation. These Ajivika vehicles are owned by the self-help groups only. So additional, in case there is a quantity which is more at a particular point of time, if some supply from the past month or past few days is held up, they hire additional vehicles. Route map of, for the THR distribution is mapped to each Anganwadi center so that it goes exactly where it is required, and prior intimation is done over phone because every Anganwadi and Sahika's phone are mapped, and they send a message or a phone call, and they are aware that, okay, the distribution is on way. And recently we have started the QR code based monitoring. This is being piloted at the moment in one block in a nearby district of Unnao, where the THR plant was set up initially. So on the basis of this learning, we would definitely like to scale it up, because as I am sure different states also would be struggling with the complaints and counter complaints, supply hua, nahi hua, galat hua, kharab hua. So this QR code is there which will say that where it is meant for, what is the date, what is the validity, etc. So these things can be cross-checked. For the fortified ration of the NAFED, the ration procured through tender by NAFED and supplied centrally, we just give them order and they do the rest of the thing. Transportation in the urban centers is done at the Anganwadi center itself. However, in the rural area, they do to the godown. And from the godown, the SHGs are mapped with each Gram Panchayat, and Gram Panchayat, they pick up the ration, and these SHGs are also of the SRLM only, wherein here they get only the transportation cost. Once they transport the quantity to the Anganwadi center, they present their bill, and those bills are then reimbursed to them. So the SHG gets a distribution cost inbuilt into the cost norms, and QR code is present on each NAFED bag. So that way its traceability and identification is much more deeper. So I won't say which one is good, which one is bad. We moved to NAFED because it was not possible for UP SRLM to supply to all the blocks, all the Gram Panchayats or all the Anganwadi centers. So for quality assurance, I think it is more or less same what is being done by other states. Nothing different, just want to reiterate what we are doing in UP. The centralized e-tendering for high value risk commodities, VMP, SMP already mentioned earlier, and packaging material also, so that the quality of packaging is also as per the required norms. Because if you pack these food grain in a poor quality packaging material, it can go bad earlier. Central empanelment of NABL lab for quality testing of THR samples for each THR plant. At the moment, we have got 5 empaneled labs. I think UP being a very big state, I am trying to see how we can increase the number of labs so that the turnaround time for the samples which are correct, so that distribution can go on quickly, or which are bad, so that distribution does not happen. So that can be lessened. I was talking to one of the state members, and they said that we have, one is the L1, and with the rest we are trying to negotiate that if you are able to come to the L1, we are okay with you. So I think that's a good technique. If rest are able to, we will have larger number of accredited NABL lab to test our samples. Centralized review of this COA of raw material like VMP and SMP before dispatch to the units. That is easily done. And centralized review of all COA of THR recipe before it is distribution to Anganwadi centers. It comes to UPSRLM, and UPSRLM, after having a look, quickly transmits it to the concerned SRLM, concerned THR unit. Each THR unit has a procurement committee for purchase of raw material, and facile licenses for each plant for 1 to 3 years have been taken. NAFED supplied ration is also accompanied with a COA on all FSSAI listed parameters. So we have listed on the right side the SOP for the THR unit, because yesterday I'm forgetting, but one of the speakers said that, I think it was Amul only, they said that the SOP should be very clearly delineated and they should be non-negotiable. So we have tried to put it in word, although in practice there is a variance, because as you understand, if you have 204 plants and so many self-help groups involved, the compliances slightly tend to go not so strictly, but we are trying to have a discussion at the state level, how to see that this does not happen and it is done as we have delineated. So pest control, procurement of raw material, quality assurance, AOP formation, storage and warehousing. By the way, we construct some godowns also along with our Anganwadi centers at the block level, so that the storage of the grain is done and safely and adhering to all the requirement which is required. Distribution and bookkeeping, equipment, cleaning of THR units, personal hygiene and cleanliness of the people, of the women who are working there, and raising invoices and settlement. I think the last one, though we write it at the last, it is very important that raising invoices and settlement, it is the core of the core. It should be done immediately, and similarly the process of payment should also be very smooth and swift. So this is the last, this is one point where we were having issues in the past. We are trying to resolve it so that the SRLM units at the district level, which are performing well, at least there the payment should be immediate, so that those women have the necessary capital and wherewithal to plow back that money to produce the next batch quickly without any break. So we are working on this point also. Hopefully in a month or so, I think things should be slightly better placed and streamlined. So costing, yes. All of us are struggling with this issue. And so beneficiary category, as you know, ICDS cost is in the column number 2. And when I say extra VGF, this decision was taken by the state government, that how will these women who are necessarily poorest of the poor, these are coming through self-help groups, through SRLM activities, how will they produce if we do not give them enough funds to produce? So this column number 3 is the amount which was given to the VGF by the state through a cabinet decision. As a result, the revised cost norms is shown in the last column. So, but still this was done, and there are groups which are still having losses with them. So we are also thinking that how these losses can be tackled, because it is something like a state giving from one hand and paying up through to the state only through the other hand. So we are also in the process of discussion at the highest level, and I think shortly, maybe through a cabinet decision, we will have to take a call that what is to be done, because MOU is there with the SRLM units, wherein if they do not supply, because they are supposed to work on a business model, they are supposed to be penalized. So, but it is a chicken egg situation, that these are poorest of the poor. The state is bringing and empowering them, trying to bring them in a different trajectory altogether. So I think in shortly, these issues which are present at the state are being taken up and will be resolved shortly. And these are some present cost norms are inadequate. Economic viability study by a committee of CDOs, and these are the chief development officers, and WFP have been conducted. They have also said that these cost norms need revision for these units to function properly. And VGF, which was provided till March 24, now that period has expired, still there are groups which require the VGF sort of support. So this is where the state is mulling over, having discussions at the highest level. Let us see what happens in the coming few months. And 2 months advance is given by ICDS to each THR plant. But then, as you see, the cost norms are higher. Even if you give advance at the present rate, they are unable to meet out the supply, the production cost. Can you push the slide? Yeah, thank you. So there are few challenges, more or less similar. Since 2017, the cost norms have not been revised. Some people said that, no, it is doable, but I don't think 2017, 2024, world has changed. Lot of, all the prices have risen. And we should not download this extreme, what to say, decision of producing at an old cost, which is non-existent today on the poorest while giving THR to the poorest of the poor, or people who cannot afford. Otherwise, why would be giving the constant THR, as Mr. Hota said, that we should move out of that zone, comfort zone, but still till it is required, at least we should give them at the cost which is prevalent and which is aligned to the market cost of the different components which are to be put together to prepare this THR. Presence of reliable, robust MIS ERP software for all users. This has been discussed in different ways by different states. Dilution of NAFED ration at household level. I agree that there is a dilution, but I think Sharika mentioned that जाएगा खाना तो वहाँ पे कुछ ना कुछ तो घर में बनेगा, कोई ना कोई खाएगा. Maybe by this we are nudging that these are the good things which will add on to your dietary dietary basket if you want to have a good diet for the children or pregnant lactating mother. But yes, this is an issue. Uninterrupted electricity supply in the rural areas, because a lot of these THR units, however, we are trying to come around by using this solar energy to a big unit. I will mention it in the next slide. And there is obviously a frequent turnover of official staff at all levels. Monitoring and evaluation, I will not dwell too much because we have a state level high empowered committee, review meetings at UPSRLM and ICDS, joint field visits by the officials, district and block level review meeting, monitoring by WFP, and QR code based monitoring. If it becomes, I think it should be good. Once it becomes successful, we will replicate it quickly. These are some good practices which I wanted to share, that recipes are compliant to NFSA 2013 and Supreme Court Rule 2004. The recipes are fortified with 12 micronutrients, have got good quality protein, lesser sugar, and optimal for optimal fat content. Because I heard MP, you were mentioning that the fat content is pretty high. Some people say, no, it's good. Some people say it is all right. So acceptability by over 90% on sensory parameters. And these are recipes which are endorsed by NIN Hyderabad. To address monotony, both the sweet and savory recipes have been offered. Recipes are ready to cook. These are the THR ones. I'm not taking, saying about the NAFED ones, because that you have to cook according to your requirement, according to the family preference. And recipes shared on ICDS YouTube channel with Anganwadi workers. Color coding of each packets, which I think each state is following according to its requirement, so that everybody knows what is the color packet which the concerned beneficiary is to have. And THR packets also serve as a learning aid on nutrition, because on the THR packet, the calorific value, how you produce it, how you do it, all that is quite instructive. Then livelihood generation, I think this is the good part, because what we are doing, who are our beneficiaries? These are small children and pregnant and lactating mothers. So through this, 4,000 SHG women have been supported by UPSRLM. I think when this is straightened or streamlined, at least the functioning plants should be able to deliver this THR properly. Not, to scale it to 75, I'm sure it is not a small job, and it will take time. So we will have to have two approaches for supplying THR at the state level. Capacity building of Anganwadi on THR. This has been done, and it is being continuously done. We have recently held a very high-level training and created a training module for not Anganwadi worker, but the supervisors. So these are the people who oversee these Anganwadi workers and Sahikas who are at the Anganwadi level. So they have been taught that what is the importance of this THR and how they will further do it while overseeing the work of these Anganwadi workers. Distribution of tabs to all THR unit for learning management system. So they have been given certain trainings, and that is contained in their tab, so that they can revisit at leisure, time and again, wherever they feel need to revert back. Introducing solar energy in 50 THR units to address the power issues. So not a big number, but I think this is a way ahead, because a lot of these production units are in remote areas where the electricity supply may not be as much as is required for the continuous running of the plant during the production period. CCTV based monitoring in 102 THR unit, and the process to revise the recipe to meet NFSA Amendment 2023 has started. We are also thinking that how these recipes become compliant to the newer needs, and how we can further deepen the nutritional value and the requirement of children and pregnant and lactating mothers. I just want, next two slides are of a program which we had initiated in the state of UP in 2021. This was called Sambhav Abhiyan. Sambhav is derived from SAM. Bhav, as we know, it's possible. So how to take these SAM children out of the nutrition deficit and all those things which are problematic at their level. So it was a two-pronged approach, wherein the nutrition which was being provided through our Anganwadi centers, they were the base where these children were identified. It was seen that despite of all this, there are number of SAM children being tracked by Department of Health, and we realized that if we have to come out of this whole circle of supplying THR, still severely malnourished children existing at the same time, a coordinated approach between Department of ICDS and Department of Health and Family Welfare was undertaken by the state of UP since 2021. So from the month of June to September, which are the, I would say, it's very hot in the state. These are the lean months wherein lot of disease and also disease and lethargy also creeps in. So this was a door-to-door visiting of those children who are there with our Anganwadis, checking their health parameters, and once they are identified, so there will be a two-way to deal with them. The children who are not, these SAM children, they would be of two categories. One would be who can be treated through community approach, wherein the distribution of THR, constant follow-up of the Anganwadi, ANM, ASHA. They would be given advice for food, counseling. They would be supplied micronutrients through them. And if there are children still existing who cannot be treated at home, so they are taken out of their home situation and shifted to the nearest NRC, this nutrition rehabilitation centers, which are co-located in the PHC or CHC, which is nearest. There, these children are admitted for at least 15 days, where their food intake, their medicine intake, etc., is also taken care of. Mothers also stay there. So that way, mother's well-being is also taken care of. And since we have, what I have seen personally, that there are 1 or 2 people who are there from the family who also come and stay with to take care of the small child and the mother. So I think the health department is doing a very good job of, they feed them also the patient wala khana. तो वो पूरा 15 दिन रह के वो बिल्कुल स्वस्थ होके जाते हैं. उसके बाद उनका तब भी फॉलो अप होता है. And after that, once they are out of that and they have received constant counseling, medicine, food, etc., they move out of SAM. So as you see, the numbers from SAM children in Uttar Pradesh is shown a declining trend. I will show you NRC's admissions over the years and number. So 2021, there are 5,800 something, then 9,146, and then there is a steep rise in admission to NRC. And then you see there is a steep decline, and number of NRC has also increased. So once it was realized that this is a program which is getting traction and which is attracting the child, the mother, and the family. So this has been much appreciated at the state level. And chief ministers, I think we have huge support from the chief minister also. And shortly, I think we are in the process of having a state scheme wherein we want to give some additional nutrition to small children, either through hot cooked meal or through different ways, and how we can do it. I was listening to all your presentations with great interest, because there are so many things which we can do and so many things which we can't do openly. It's like state policy of giving egg. I don't think we can carry it out in UP. But wherever it can be done through the counseling or through the orientation, while the families come to Anganwadi Kendra for their VHSND or the Godh Bharai ceremony or the Annaprashan ceremony. And I found it very interesting that I think Mr. Hota said that, or I think some CIFF said, I think, co-sensitization of the beneficiaries. So what we do interestingly in UP is when, and you are from UP, so you know how patriarchal the society is. So when the Godh Bharai ceremony happens, so we insist that the Bahu should come with her mother-in-law, so that whatever the ANM, the ASHA is explaining to her with regard to her health parameter, or even the husbands are also supposed. There may be issue of spacing also. So there we try to ask all the important stakeholders who have important say or who are important gatekeepers, as somebody say, in their nutrition, in their well-being. So they are supposed to be there so that that counseling happens in a combined, in a family type of arrangement. And these were few things which I wanted to share with you. And again, I would say everything is not so good, but we are trying our best, and we will definitely try to iron out the issues which are troubling us and nagging us from achieving a better and a more healthy mother and child. Thank you. Namaskar.
Ma'am, you showed us a very interesting presentation, and I find it to some extent similar to Orissa, because you also have more than 200 units which are being run by the women's self-help groups. Ma'am, I had just 2-3 questions that I wanted to ask you. One is that you are topping up from the state government to some degree, but most of it is within the central government cost norms. So NAFED and your SRLM units are both managing equally well or with equal difficulty, or there is a difference in terms of scale, because NAFED may have a single plant?
So this top-up which I was mentioning is for take-home ration units run by UP State Rural Livelihood Mission units. For NAFED, it is no top-up, because this VGF was a special cabinet decision which was taken then, so that when these plants were set up, and the cost was, these plants started in 2021, the cost aligned was 2017. So this gap, when it was there in 3 years hence, or 4 years hence, now we are sitting in 2024. I don't buy this argument that we can make do with 2017 cost for 2014.
So again, when and in terms of the quality output of both NAFED and the SRLM units, is there any difference, or is it roughly the same, or is there any difference in terms of the beneficiaries finding it? Because you are actually in a very unique and very wonderful situation where you have 2 models running, which are very different. So it's like an experiment where you have a control group and you have a normal, so I would just like to.
So that's a complicated question, Shubha. So, so the SRLM group, they try to adhere to the quality and things, but because of this deficit, the payment issue, the timeliness of the payment, there may be some quality issues sometimes. And for NAFED, since it is a centrally procured and stuff like that, and since there is this QR code also, so if there is any packet which says okay खराब है, तो we immediately scan and know ये कहाँ का supply है, और फिर NAFED को तुरंत उसको substitute करना पड़ता है. So now what we are doing for this THR for the units, if once we are successful with this code thing, I think we will try to implement it. Plus, we would like also to address their issues of timeliness of the payment, whatever it is, 2017 cost and plus the state top-up. And at the moment, they are struggling, because the state top-up has also stopped since March 24. So we have to take a call on that. For that, we are having...
Ma'am, which is that you have World Food Program as your partner. They have also partnered with Orissa to set up 2 very nice units. So they had introduced some interesting recipes. Anu, you are there, which was slightly different from the Government of India cost norm. And obviously, recipe Government of India doesn't stop us. We can innovate as much as we want, but there are these boundaries of the cost norm. So, ma'am, in your VGF, are you able to do the basic which Government of India requires, or are you able to do the improved and therefore slightly costlier recipes of World Food Program?
So as you saw, that thing we have included the skimmed milk powder, the vitamins, the fortified thing, and all that is within the given cost norm. With the state, whatever is the top up at the moment, because that decision was taken and now we are again at the crossroad that ab kya kare. So that again requires a cabinet decision or a first well thought out policy or discussion at the state level, and then probably taking it to the cabinet.
We can ask, we can take questions. Yes, pass karibe mic take. If we can have any questions for Professor Ota also, we can take. Thank you.
Ma'am, namaste. My question is, how many labs in UP for giving COA, certificate of analysis? How many labs in UP?
फाइव
Thank you.
फाइव मगर हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि और अधिक हों, क्योंकि 75 जनपद के लिए 5 से कुछ नहीं होता है, और ये सारे लैब्स गुड़गांव और दिल्ली के लोकेशन में हैं, तो वेस्टर्न यूपी वाला तो तुरंत चला जाता है, आ जाता है, बट बाकी हमारे ईस्टर्न यूपी और बाकी सब में काफ़ी समय लगता है, तो वी आर दिस इज़ नॉट सफिशेंट फॉर अस, एंड सिंस इट इज़ सो मैनी यूनिट्स डूइंग द प्रोडक्शन, तो सभी का जाएगा तो बहुत समय लगता है, 15 दिन लग जाता है.
Okay. Thank you.
इसको
Please check the mic.
I am Dr. Arlappa, madam, I am from NIN. As per your slide, you are some children you are supplementing irrespective of their age, 185 grams of this one. That is halwa. Them that will be 25 days per month. That you might be supplementing with the more sugar compared to other states. And alternative food was a namkeen is there. They are giving a more salt also compared to other children. You are the children will habituate to more sugar and salt.
आप ही ने वेरीफाई किया है NIN से.
It might be old one, but I don't know that one. But new guideline. But namkeen is there. Both are the high fat, high salt, sugar, high sugar.
We'll have
it might be good for the.
We will discuss it with you if it requires a relook.
Any more questions for Madam or Professor Ota as well? Because I saw a hand raised at the Rajasthan table maybe for Professor Ota. Yes, you were raising a hand if at all you have a question. Can we pass the mic to the lady at Rajasthan table? ये आकर दे दे बैठ के हाँ. No, actually we are bringing the mic from the front to you. Yes. I'll take one more mic.
Check.
Namaskar, sir. Sir, in your presentation, you had highlighted for the tribals, which are very much necessary, which represents the last mile approach. I am Toshaba. I am from the state of Odisha. And my question is that you had mentioned that for the pregnant woman, we should replace THR with HCM. So why is it so? Can't we add like HCM and THR together? Why is the need for replacement?
Professor Ota sir, before you answer, from the stage sir, if there are any further questions for Madam Principal Secretary Uttar Pradesh, then I will.
Ma'am, we have one more question from the same state. Mute के लिए तो हम भी check कर. सबका सुनाई देगा. We can wait.
Thank you, ma'am, for a very nice presentation. I'm Pushpa from Madhya Pradesh, UNICEF. Ma'am, my question is regarding the acceptability study which you have conducted for your state, and you have a very good acceptability of more than 90%. So I was interested in knowing, like, was the department was the one to carry the study, or you have involved other actors in taking out the study?
Can I ask the UNICEF team to respond? I think Sarika would be able to answer.
Can we pass the mic to Dr. Sharika?
So Pushpa, the acceptability study was supported by the World Food Programme. It was done in 7 regions of the state, 7 districts, on all the products, and across the products there was an acceptability of more than 90%. Of course, we in turn had a partner, and I can share the details of that partner on the ground as well.
Thank you so much. Now we are going, I believe, at least 1 hour delayed. Okay, from Team UP.
Yes. 30 seconds left. So, two things. One is that we discussed about THR, and in THR we discussed about 6 months to 6 years. And within that also we looked at a subcategory of severely acutely malnourished children, or SUW. So this is just a request because all the states are also present. And Amang also spoke about preconception and the implications in low birth weight and so on and so forth. Can also the states or states putting together to the national government also think about severely malnourished pregnant women as a special category within that category, so that the additional energy requirement can also be met for that particular pregnant woman. So that is one request to this house. The second point is Dr. Ota also presented in the tribal areas especially, and Sarika also presented that there is a surplus. For an example, the child requires this much, but we are presently giving little higher than that. And we know that in tribal and marginalized areas, this becomes the only food for the child also in many instances. So can a differential strategy can also be thought through for the states which have these kind of deprivations and problem areas, that the THR quantity is actually increased for this population rather than fixing it to the national norms, because that is not helping to those children or pregnant women out there. So these are two suggestions if those can be considered. Thanks.
Thank you, thank you. Now we will go for the next presentation, but ladies and gentlemen, we are running delayed at least by 1 hour or so. So we would like to request following three. I would invite esteemed Deputy Director, Women and Child Development, Dr. Manju Yadav, to kindly come on the dais and start with the presentation. And I would invite our Madam Director, Ms. Monisha Banerjee, IAS, to kindly greet and felicitate Madam. A warm welcome to the stage, Dr. Manju Yadav. Thank you, Madam Banerjee, and I would request Dr. Yadav to kindly start with the presentation. And if at all, yes, we are lacking, we don't have much time, but then if time is the constraint, some of the questions I would request to ask during the process, and some we can discuss maybe after during the lunch network. Let's make a networking lunch. Thank you. Over to Dr. Yadav.
Thank you. Respected dais and all the dignitaries, I have the privilege to represent my state here. It's a great opportunity. Thanks to Odisha team and Odisha government. So not taking more time, I will start my presentation. In Rajasthan, as you all know, that Rajasthan is also a big state at having more than 62,000 Anganwadi centers among 50 districts. So we have experience of both the system, decentralized system since 2015 to 2020. And during the corona period, we distributed dry ration by the dry ration from WBNP program and chana dal from NAFED. And since April 2022, we have started to taking THR through centralized system. So the state government done an MOU with the CONFED, which is an cooperative institute of government Rajasthan. And all the terms and conditions are clearly mentioned in that MOU. And separate SOPs are designed for all the system, like for the lab testing, for the payment and verifications, and for the monitoring and supervisor. So we are doing in that framework, and now I come to my PPT. These are the recipes which we are providing to different categories. This is the combo of 3 or 4 recipes, like pregnant lactating mothers are getting fortified nutri-sweet dalia, fortified moong dal rice khichdi, and fortified plain wheat dalia. If we talk about normal children, same, the additional is balahar premix. And the recipes are same. You can see that 3 to 6 years children are getting morning snacks and hot cooked meal at Anganwadi center. And additionally, they are getting balahar premix also. You can see the packet glimpses, like different color coding for different category of beneficiaries. And this is the serving size which we are providing them for 25 days in a month. You can see that 4 kg around more than children with SAM. Additionally, they are getting 1 kg and 550 gram. Children with normal children or MAM, 2 kg and 875 kg. So I come at the system, please. Production of take-home ration. So as I mentioned earlier, that we are getting THR from the centralized system. There are 3 vendors which are empaneled by the CONFED, and they are giving supply across the state. The district divisions is done by the CONFED, and this is the fully automatic plant. 3 plants are located in Rajasthan in different districts. Ma'am, 50 districts right now. 17 districts new declared by the government. And this is the supply chain management. We give work order ODI to the CONFED, and beneficiary number we get from the Poshan tracker. So since when we started the beneficiary number taking from the Poshan tracker, we seen that our Poshan tracker reporting enhanced. When we were taking manually through the link, the worker was not sincere about the Poshan tracker. But last 3 to 4 months, we have taken all the demand from the Poshan tracker, and it's the positive fact we can say that the Poshan tracker is being streamlined. Then CONFED give it demand to their vendors. Vendors start the supply, and they supply doorstep Anganwadi center, or Anganwadi worker distribute to the beneficiaries. As we know that this is a automated plant, and the supply is being done by the vendors which are very experienced in this field. So there are few challenges also, that there the area which are hard to reach. There especially transportation mode changed by them, so the timely supply can be done. For quality assurance, we have the provision of lab testing also, ma'am, and we are doing 4-level lab testing. One at plant level, which is done by the vendor, in-house lab testing. Secondly, the deputy directors of our department, they goes to the plant and collect their random sample of batch wise and send to the NABL labs. Third, CONFED also take the samples from the plants, and he also ensures the testing. And fourth, when the supply goes to the Anganwadi center, we collect randomly samples and through by our DD to the empanel labs. There are 2 labs in the Rajasthan which are empaneled by the direct tender. These are the costing norms which is in the frame of cost norm decided by the GOI. And we all have the concern that after 2017, GOI has not increased any rates, and I think all the states are requesting to the MWCD, and we hope that earlier it will be come to the states. It will easy to design some more useful recipes. Otherwise, स्टेट फंडिंग से किसी भी तरीके की रेसिपी को इनोवेट करके फील्ड तक ले जाना, इट्स रियली वेरी चैलेंजिंग. Resource mobilization allocation for augmented supplementary THR SCM. In current budget, our state government has announced to provide skimmed milk powder to the beneficiaries from 6 months to 6 years. And right now we are working on that, and very soon it will deliver to Anganwadi centers. This is a proposed recipe which we are planning to provide our SAM children. As ma'am said, UP Principal Secretary ma'am said that there are two types of children. One category which are without medical complication can be cured at the community level, and second with medical complication which are referred to the MTCs, malnourishment treatment centers. So the children who are in SAM category, what can be given in addition? As we all know that 25 January 2023 circular of GOI says that the protein should be increased in the THR. So 20 gram protein is a very big, I can say, in this current framework of rates, it's not feasible, but we are trying to do by the state initiative. There are many of obstacles in supply of THR. Since 2017, rates are not increased by the GOI, and we have to follow all the CMM protocol recently shared by the GOI, and the protein and calorie norms changed by the GOI by the 25 January circular that are really big challenge to implement by the states. So monitoring and evaluation, monitoring system, I think more or less same in all the states. We are doing monitoring through our existing field functionaries, and secondly, we have designed a separate software for this. As we are taking by the centralized, so the software designed by the CONFED. And when the supply starts and when up to reach at the Anganwadi center, we track that supply by the separate software that is designed for only SNP supply. We daily watch this software progress at our directorate level also, and if we found that anywhere in any district the supply is lagging behind, so we talk to direct the vendor, and we talk to the Anganwadi worker to cross verification if she has got or not the supply. QR code, we have planned the QR code on the challan. Challan means it shows that what quantity of all type of packets is being given to Anganwadi worker. So when the worker receives the supply, she open her app. It is a separate app designed for this software. Anganwadi worker open his app and scan the challan. And when she scans, she gets an OTP. She feed the OTP, then she can submit. And when she submit, we get report that the SNP has been supplied to the Anganwadi center. Actually, ma'am, we are getting some problem to making QR code on outer bag, because outer bags get teared during the supply, and some QR code gets fed, not easy to scan them, and some additional loose packets are also attached with that. So what we planned initially that we will put the QR code on the challan. So the combo of recipes are supplying to the Anganwadi center. We can track that by the scanning the challan. One more best practice we are adopting. Similarly, I can say that with the centralized system, we are also having a decentralized model also. By the support of WFP, we are taking supply in 5 projects. And WFP supported us to establish a plant, SSG running that plant. And that is also designed recipe by the WFP and as per the GUI norms. These are the recipes which we are taking in the SSG plant, and all the calorie and protein norms as per under the cost and as per norms. Thank you. I think I have completed within the time.
Yes, before 50 minutes only. Thank you so much, madam. But I would suggest, can we take, if everyone agrees, can we have all the 3 presentations together and we can take down the questions now. So it will be easy for all of us. Thank you. Madam, would you please like to take your seat? And afterwards, we will all take the questions together. Thank you, Dr. Yadav. Thank you, the state of Rajasthan, for a wonderful presentation and for finishing it in time as well. Now, let us go for the presentation by state Telangana. May I invite the esteemed Joint Director Scheme, Women and Child Development Department, Telangana, Mr. Endla Akeswar Rao, to the podium, please, with a round of applause. And I would request our Director, Ms. Monisha Banerjee, to kindly greet and felicitate Mr. Rao. A warm welcome to the dais, sir. I would request you to start with the presentation, and thank you, Madam Banerjee. Would you like a compliment? No, I would like to. The pointer? Right here. Pointer touch.
Can I have the pointer, please? Yeah, thank you. Thank you, ma'am, for having us to the state enclave on THR. My name is Akeshwar Rao, a Joint Director from Telangana State. With your permission, ma'am, I would like to go ahead with our presentation. Telangana, just a brief background on Telangana State. We have 33 districts in Telangana and 149 projects and 1440 sectors, around 35,700 Anganwadi centers at present. And we are covering around 4,19,000 pregnant women, 10 lakhs, 4,000 6 months to 3 years children, and 6 to 3 years, we are covering around 6 lakhs 17,000 children, and around 14,000 change we have SAM children in Telangana state. As far as the food models are concerned, I would just like to say that we have one Arogya Lakshmi scheme, which actually is a state government scheme, along with nutrition, supplementary nutrition program, which again comes under Government of India also. So I would just like to mention over here for 3 to 6 months to 3 years children, basically, we are giving a Balamurtam packet, which again is 2.5 kgs, that's 100 grams per day, along with 16 eggs per month. This we are giving for 7 months to 3 years children. For 3 to 2 years children, we are giving a complete full meal we are giving. Though we have mentioned that has a mini hot cooked meal, we are giving a complete full meal to them, along with 30 eggs. That is daily 1 egg will be given to them, along with snack food. Snack food also is being given to them. For pregnant and lactating, we are again giving them one full meal is being given, hot cooked meal. Hot cooked meal is being given. Along with this, egg, every day 1 egg, that is 30 eggs per month. And we are giving 200 ml milk per day. Per day we are giving 200 ml milk, and this is for 30 days. When I say 30 days, the Sunday is a holiday. So what we do is, the milk actually, which 200 ml milk on Sunday, is given as a curd on 2 days. That choice is given to the Anganwadi teacher to decide based on the local practices. It might be given on a Tuesday and a Friday. So curd again is being given 2 days. That's how we cover it for 30 days. And for malnutrition, again, we have a separate meal basically. What actually we give is mini meal, we call it. Why I say this mini meal is, now for 7 months to 3 years children. So suppose we are giving 75 ml rice we are giving per day. So we give it, half of it we give, along with the balamurtam and eggs. Eggs again, 30 eggs will be given to them. And for preschool children, we give them 50 grams balamurtam. So that's how again we, this thing. This actually is our food model. What is that? What we follow is completely hot cooked meal we give. Only for 7 months to 3 years, we give them balamurtam along with 16 eggs, which is a THR. Our distribution basically is for balamurtam plus again. Now actually we have come to balamurtam plus. Again, that also I'll be explaining about the difference between balamurtam and balamurtam plus. That we give monthly and fortnightly is being given. Balamurtam is being given monthly. Why fortnightly is because we take the growth fortnightly basis specifically for the children, so they have to compulsory come to the Anganwadi center. That's the reason we have put it fortnightly. And balamurtam plus, the energy configuration, what all is there in that, I would just like to explain over here. Along with this energy, what is there completely. What we have, you please see over there is, we have calcium, iron, vitamin A, vitamin B1, B2, B12, vitamin C, folic acid. So all zinc, everything is coming under this. So, I'm sorry, I forgot. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, yes. So this is the thing. So we have all this, it covers under our balamurtam plus. So suppose you take the ingredients, you can see sugar is 20 grams alone, oil is 20 grams, milk powder is 13.3, roasted wheat we have 26.7, Bengal gram we have, groundnuts we have, rice flakes we have. So total this comes to 100 grams. This again, the existing balamurtam, which we give for normal children, and balamurtam plus, which we give for SAM children. So just a comparison between both of them. So what actually I would like to mention is the last 3 points, wherein when you see the last 3 points, like for example, zinc, for example, niacin, folic acid, they have been rice flakes, groundnut has been included in this, as far as balamurtam plus is concerned. That's the thing. And the total actually, you can see, here we get 414 calorific value is given, here 460 is given. So the complete difference between both of them also is clearly displayed over here. And as far as the cost factor is regarding this is concerned, now as far as this is being a 50% shared program, now for pregnant women, 4 rupees 75 paisa is given by the central government. So a matching share of 4 rupees 75 paisa is given by the state. Along with this, the additional budget of 18 rupees 1 paisa is given by the state government completely. So which again is coming out to 27 rupees 60 paisa for pregnant and lactating mothers. For 3 to 6 years children, again 4 rupees, and along with this, additional budget of 3.5 rupees is given by the state. So it comes to 11 rupees 50 paisa. For 6 months to 3 years children, basically, again 4 rupees, and again additional state budget of 1 rupee 68 paisa, which again comes to 9 rupees 68 paisa. For SAM ma'am, along with the state budgets, again additional budget of 5 rupees 75 paisa is borne by the state. So it comes to 7 rupees 50 paisa, 17 rupees 50 paisa. So it's a total expenditure, additional expenditure of nearly, I would say, 600 crores is being additionally given by our state government. As far as this supplementary nutrition or Arogya Lakshmi program is concerned, that is purely been borne by the state government. So layering of other services with provision of THR basically, I would like to mention, or THR or hot cooked meal program in Telangana. So as far as 6 months to 3 years children are concerned, 6 months, 3 years children concerned, along with Balamurtam and eggs basically, distribution is monthly, growth monitoring immunization services are being done, but one thing is we again go for customized counseling of parents on nutrition and stimulation. So this thing actually we take it up very seriously as far as the children are concerned. Has 3 to 6 years children, along with preschool education, one is IFA syrup, vitamin A, deworming. I would again, later slides, I would say how closely we work with health department, whereas joint guidelines have been given by both the departments together. This takes place, and along with this, weight and heights, biannual actually, we had this RBSK team coming. Now, recently, clear instructions have been given to them to visit every month as part of the job schedule, to Anganwadi centers also. This is one thing. Pregnant and breastfeeding, pregnant and lactating, basically. Here, one thing is gestation weight gain. This is one thing which we monitor. Very, very closely we monitor, and linkaging of ANC checkups. This is one thing. When I say linking up with the health department, this data is reflected both in health department portal and even in women in WCD. So it's a sharing, data sharing takes place at both the levels. Baluttam Plus and SSFP protocols actually which have been introduced in Telangana. We have found from Balamurtam to Balamurtam Plus, where a study was conducted in few districts of Telangana for 2 weeks, we have found substantial improvement actually in the children, wherein within a span of 2 weeks, because after that we had got this COVID and we couldn't go ahead with it, nearly 17% difference we could actually identify. So then when actually, that's the reason it has been scaled up to the complete Telangana state. Already from NIN, sir already mentioned yesterday, as far as this SSFP practice 10 steps are concerned, here I would just like to add 2 things over here. So here basically after the growth assessment is done and nutrition classification of nutrition status takes place, it's the Anganwadi teacher who does the appetite test. Appetite test is done to all the children in the Anganwadis. It's a compulsory, mandatory for Anganwadi teacher to do appetite test. So after the appetite test, then there are some points I would like to mention over here, ma'am. I'm just hiding over here. Medical assessment, when I'm talking about here, medical assessment for SAM children is compulsory done by the medical officer, and for other children is done by the this thing. So what we have done, madam, over here is we have made it mandatory for the coordination between the health department and WCD department, where the medical assessment, even they need to enter it in their site, in their this thing. Online credentials, it has to be entered by the medical officers, not by the WCD. So here I would just like to add this one thing over here. So again, follow-up basically with families and of malnutrition children, engaging in peer parenting, self-help groups, PR engagement. So all this also is a part of our for improving consumption. This is a part of our this thing. And this is the most important thing is IT-enabled services. This actually, IT-enabled services, we follow NHTS. NHTS we follow, which actually is a state government thing. I would just like to explain how we do this. Now, as far as this thing is concerned, no indent is placed by the Anganwadi teacher. Here we need to this thing. So we have a biometric mode basically. So in biometric, what happens is once the stock is received and when the stock is given by the Anganwadi teacher, automatically it's reflected in our site immediately. Immediately it's reflected over there. So daily, every month, only, and daily attendance also, daily attendance has to be taken, and it also has to be entered. So once that is taken, basically, once that is taken, it's immediately reflected in our data site, basically. And the balance utilization also is cut immediately. So daily itself, we have the balances reflecting in our these things, and it's biometric and geotagged also. So where the location of where the Anganwadi teacher is taking the food also, where they are supplying also, everything is mapped. Everything is mapped completely. And only once, end of the month, we give them an opportunity to make any corrections. Because it's being a software, there might be some mistakes. So that's the only thing, we give them some window for corrections. Other than that, everything is completely monitored online. Our rice basically supplies are from civil services, civil supplies, and Red Ram Dal is through Haka again, which is a government agency. Oil is through oil fed, and eggs is we have zonal tenders. Every egg again is marked. We have this thing stamped by, it's stamped and it's sent. And milk basically is from Vijaya Dairy again, which is a government organization. Balamurtham snack food, Balamurtham Plus is again from TS Foods. TS Foods and condiments are basically oil fed. Here we have two level of supply, wherein the supply has to be the doorstep of Anganwadi centers. So all the suppliers have the godowns in districts also. So it's their responsibility that once the food leaves the godown, it has to go, they have to store it in the district godown and again supply it. Our thing, it comes to play only after the food is reached at Anganwadi center. And all of them have their oil-fed or Balamurtham, basically Telangana Foods, have their quality management itself over there itself. See, this is again, I've already mentioned over here because we are running short of time. This is how our intent is placed basically, wherein it's online. Completely online, so we don't expect the Anganwadi teacher or supervisor or anyone actually to put in indents. So everything, once the stock is received and once the daily attendance is taken, immediately the utilization also reflects, and the indent daily balances are available with us. Real-time tracking mechanism basically here. I'm speeding it up. So real-time tracking system which I have mentioned already. So based on the indent itself, our commissioner will be placing the indents. They go to the suppliers, and from there again go to the centers. So everything is monitored online itself. I have very less time, I believe, so I need to just rush through. So this is again IT-enabled mobile commodity management, which I already have mentioned over here. So I don't think I need to again explain it over here. This is IT-enabled mobile commodity management. So this is how, because everything is through biometric. So every item again is we could monitor everything. As far as quality assurance and control practices are concerned, this again, because they all are, they have their own laboratories where testing takes place, sampling is done. Only one thing where actually we have a problem in doing the testing is for dal, which actually at present is procured locally, district level tendering. This is one thing I would like to mention here. This last mile service delivery, in this actually we have identified 1,069 locations in urban, rural and tribal areas, which have difficulty in reaching. So you might be wondering why we have added urban areas also. So what we have observed is in many areas in urban, for example, GHMC area of Hyderabad is divided into 3 districts. Out of this, Hyderabad is one district, which actually has 50 lakh population. But Anganwadi services are being provided only to 10 lakh population. Because as per the norms, we don't have 800 to 1,000 population for setting up a new center. So what we have done is, we have, through the health department, we have taken the list of pregnant and lactating, and as a pilot project, we have identified some beneficiaries, around 1,000 beneficiaries, and we are, through mobile Anganwadis, we are going there and giving them the food. and health services are being provided to them. Because it's a very scattered population where we have around 10, 20 working in some apartments and all that. So we are actually mapping them completely and doing it. As a pilot project, we have already started in 2 projects wherein we are covering 1,000 beneficiaries for present. And we hope to scale it up to complete, you can say, Hyderabad and all the urban areas also. Best practices basically is one thing is online web application called online food consolidation report, basically what we do. Next is Aadhaar linked application, basically this is Aadhaar linked application where biometric authentication becomes very easy for us. Next is egg, milk, red gram, balamurtam, murukulu and oil are being supplied to Anganwadi centers through Telangana state itself. Through commodity supply chain management system, actually we are supplying it. Rice basically is being, again, electronic indenting or supplies through EPOS. EPOS is taking place. The next, automated indent calculation takes place, wherein no one needs to place an indent. Automatically indent takes place, this is one thing. And next is live delivery status is being tracked by Anganwadi functionaries through web portal. This also is happening. And the app also maintains the details of opening and closing of balances of all 35,700 centers, wherein it becomes very easy for us to place the indents. Challenges, basically financial implications. One is time release of budgets, one thing. Next is hard to reach areas in tribal and uncovered areas in urban pockets also, which I've already mentioned basically. This is one thing. Next is storage facilities of Anganwadi centers. I think this goes with all the states, wherein we have very small Anganwadi centers, and once all this food is dumped over there, it becomes difficult to store. Next is mobile network issues in few areas, where actually, especially in tribal areas, this mobile network issues are there, which actually we are thinking of how to address it. Next is the most important, this integration of NSTS with portion tracker. We have been requesting the government of India to integrate both of them, because the work is becoming a double the burden is falling on the Anganwadi teacher. They need to do update in both the apps. Suppose if integration takes place, it becomes easy. It will be a win-win position for both the state and the center also, because some of the best practices from our NSTS can be again replicated in portion tracker also. Next is current norms for SNP to be. This is everyone have been asking for revised cost norms. The same thing. Next is uniform costing of SNP for adolescent age groups. This is one thing. These are the challenges as far as what we have observed. This one thing I would like to mention over here. This is a saving which we could do because of this online app. Now suppose we compare 14 and 15, wherein just for rice we had around 37,746. And 23-24, we have now at present 22,689. So nearly 15,057 these things was saved. So total saving actually, if we compare, we could save nearly 387.64 crores. Saving has been done by the state because of this online web app. The reason basically is once an Anganwadi teacher or gives the indents, the chance of she giving it wrong, or we have found that the names basically what are there, double, triples, replication of the names have been happened. So once we have done this biometric authentication, everything has come down. So this is how actually we could save this amount for the government. This is one thing. That's it. Thank you from our state.
Mr. Edla Akeswar Rao, esteemed Joint Director, Scheme, Women and Child Development Department, Telangana, for the presentation, and thank you for cooperating with us before the time as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we just have one more presentation to go, but before that, let me announce the presence of esteemed Development Commissioner cum Additional Chief Secretary, Water Resources, Government of Odisha, Mrs. Anu Garg is with us. Namaskar ma'am, a very, very good afternoon. We are running a bit delayed. We have one more presentation to go. We hope you have that much of time to be with us. Thank you. And for the last presentation, we will have CFTRI. Central Food Technological Research Institute, we have Dr. B. Satyamala, Senior Principal Scientist, CSIR CFTRI. Madam, could we please have you on the dais to start with the presentation with a round of applause? And I would request our Director, Madam Monisha Banerjee, to kindly greet Madam on the stage. A very, very good afternoon, Dr. B. Satyamala. Welcome on the stage. I will request you to kindly start with the presentation. I hope we get the, yes. Right.
Thank you so much. Respected dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, and all the delegates. I'm Satyamala, and I thought I'll just make a brief presentation since we are running short of the time. So I thought I'll just brief about what CFTR actually is. I know that everybody will be knowing what CFTR is, but I thought I'll just give a gist of all the activities what CFTRI does, and then I will talk about what are the interventions that CFTRI has taken up. So this is CFTRI is a premier research laboratory which was established in the year 1950, and it is one of the constant laboratories which comes under CSIR, that is the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, Government of India. And our mandate has been to develop cost-effective, bio-friendly food processing technologies, and at the same time concentrating on the food safety, health, nutrition, and environment. And it is headed by a very dynamic Dr. Sridevi Annapurna Singh, who is the director of the institute. And we have research departments, around 18 research departments, which work in different areas of food technology, because food is a very complicated aspect, and we work in different 18 R&D departments are there from all angles. So these are the 18 R&D departments which works in the grains, sensory, food packaging, etc. And I just thought that I'll give a brief about what are all the ingredients which actually CFTI works. We work in the area of cereals, then we work in the area of bakery products, we work in the area of fruits and vegetables. So these are all, whatever I have listed is all the products which CFTI has standardized, and we work in the area of spices as well, and we work in the area of beverages. Okay, and then we have the technologies for meat, fish, and poultry processing. Then we are also developing ready-to-eat foods in retort pouches. Then we have the some few products for the children as well. We are working in the area of packaging also. We develop packages based on the food products. And these have been some of our success stories. So here I have just shown the Amul baby food. So I thought I'll just put a note on this. It was in the year, I think, before 1960. Most of our baby foods were already actually imported from other countries. So at that time, even the cow milk was not in abundance in India. So we were having more of buffaloes. 58% buffaloes were there. So because buffalo milk is rich in fat, so we cannot, this is not easily digestible to the child. So CFTRI had developed a technology which is from the buffalo milk. So this was transferred to the Kaira district milk cooperators, which was produced under the name of Amul spray. I think everybody knows about that. So CFTRI, this has been the intervention taken up by CFTRI. And then we have the energy food, midday meal programs. I'm sorry, this is. So these are some more success stories of CFTRI. So in this year, CFTRI has completed 75 years And under this 75 years of research has contributed to a bouquet of about 400 technologies. CFTRI has standardized 400 different technologies, and these are all the scale-up technologies which have been transferred to about 4,000 industries. And also it caters to the prototype machinery, designing of prototype machineries, which cater to the SMEs and the large-scale production of Indian traditional foods. And then we also provide globally analytical services for food, nutrients, and safety. Then we work in the post-harvest of technologies for agri-commodities. And then we also take up the nutritional intervention programs towards the societal outreach and disaster relief. So I thought I'll just add this one. Recently, I think 2 months, it was in the month of September, the CFTRI had developed a millet-based bun, which is, this technology was transferred to McDonald's. It includes the 5 different millets. And coming to now the role of CFTRI in the nutrition intervention programs. So now, as we all know, that nutrition is very fundamental to human health and development, and addressing malnutrition saves lives and builds strong and resilient individuals, families, and communities, and eventually countries. So during the last 2 decades, and actually also in yesterday's discussion, we have been seeing how there was on the positive side, there was a reduction in the stunting as well as the underweight also. I think there is some change. And this status of this nutrition has to be maintained throughout at all stages of their life. So I think under the ICDS program, the supplementary nutrition program has been started, which is about the take-home rations and also the hot cooked meals. So what is the role of CFTRI? Actually, so if you see, as per the NFHS report, this is the nutritional scenario of children under 5. So we have the underweight, stunting, wasting, and all these problems, which are all because of the dietary inadequacy. So here, so to combat malnutrition, which is one of the biggest issues faced by our nation, so CFTRI studied the diet pattern of the underprivileged preschool children and has planned a nutrition intervention program with the in-house developed product, protein and micronutrient-based products, and executed the malnutrition alleviation studies successfully in collaboration with the Ministry of Women and Child Welfare Development, Government of Karnataka. So this is actually a study which was taken up in Nanjangud, which is a small town in Mysore. So 250 preschool children were selected, and the intervention was taken up for a period of, say, 6 months. And these 250 children were identified from 12 Anganwadis. And this, actually it was observed that these Anganwadi children were very thin, some were wasted, small for age, and frequently ill. So several products, some 7 different products identified by CFTRI were used to supplement this nutrition of these children. So I think I'll just put up these, what are the 7 products? One is the rice milk mix, the energy food, the mango bar, high protein rusk, spirulina chicky, and the micronutrient sprinkles, and the sesame paste. So a brief about all these products is that it is this sesame paste is a ready-to-eat nutrient-dense product, and it has balanced nutrition, having all the essential amino acids, essential fatty acids, and the product is also having the therapeutic value. And also I think I have listed here the nutritional values for 100 gram. And then we have the Nutra Chicky with added spirulina. So spirulina is a blue-green algae, and it is a good source of different nutrients. And this was another product which was given to the children, with this fortified mango bar. So since in India we have so many different varieties of mangoes, the pulp was used for the preparation of mango bar, which was fortified with extraction of carotene from carrots. And this was one more product. And high protein rusk. So the product developed from CFTRI had a high protein content of about 6% more than the ordinary rusk, and also had a longer shelf life. And this is the energy food. So this energy food is mostly it had to be mixed with hot water and made into laddus before giving it to the beneficiary. So I think yesterday there was a discussion about how the child cannot take the whole 150 grams or the 100 grams, whatever the quantity specified. So here, to improve upon that, we have added some malted flour so that it improves the nutrition, also the taste also is getting enhanced with that. So I think this study was carried out in with this Anganwadi children for over a period of 6 months, and there have been positive development in terms of hemoglobin and ferritin levels. So seeing this results, the further study was taken up for this was extended to the MAM and SAM children as well, as a weekly pack of nutrition supplements developed at CFTRI for the intervention. So it was the first day you have the energy chicky, and then you have the mango bar, the spirulina chicky energy bar. So it is a 5-day weekly pack it is. And with this intervention, I think there were a lot of changes. There was the weight increment as well as the height increment, and also the prevalence of anemia reduced by 10%, and the severity was reduced by 22% on intervention. So the same weekly pack ration was given to the malnourished children in the Purulia district of West Bengal. And I think someone was talking about the Bal Ahar. So this Bal Ahar was developed by CFT as a part of the UNESCO project. And it is, and now the other intervention was that in the Kionja district of, Ragi, which is more rich in calcium, 30 times more calcium and 4 times more iron. And also it is rich in fiber, minerals and antioxidants. So this is given as a morning snack additionally to the existing menu. So this was developed by CFTRI. And CFTRI is also working with the Odisha government on recipes and other requests related to shelf life, nutritional profiling, and formulations for severely acute malnourished. This is the introduction of Ragi Laddus in Kionja district. So I thought in addition to all, there are some more products which can be used in the nutrition intervention programs. One is the Suruchi Mita Barfi. Then we have the high protein biscuits. Then we have the dal-based nutrition supplement for food, and then banana bar. So these are some of the other products which can be used as the nutritional supplements. So I think in these 2 days of deliberations, some few observations, what I can actually suggest was that I think more was talked about the protein content, but I think in addition to the macronutrients, even the micronutrient supplement is very much required for the beneficiaries, as also discussed by the lecture from NIN. And also there can be usage of some high quality proteins such as pulses, dairy and soy. And one more observation was that I think the same type of supplement was given to the child, pregnant woman, lactating woman, if there could be some change, because the taste preferences of a pregnant woman and the lactating woman is more different than a child. So something if that could be worked upon. And also the packaging also is very important, because I think, I don't know if something is specified. When this is packed and then sent to the beneficiary, it has to be consumed within some time period. If it is not consumed within the time period, there might be, because of this, if there is no proper packaging, there could be some quality deterioration. So that is, packaging also is very important. So these could be some of the suggestions. And observations, what actually I think there are, in all the take-home rations, very common processing methodology adopted is roasting. So the quality of the end product will always depend upon the roasting, the time, the temperature, and if also the raw material quality is not good, or even the roasting is more, there could be bitterness. And so I don't know how, I do not have much idea, because whether all the SHGs, if it is a decentralized method, in a decentralization mode, if all the SSGs will be following the same pattern, because they might be using different machineries, different time of roasting. So all this should be actually, modalities should be worked out. And then in this, CFTR can really pitch in for giving trainings. And I thought I'll just put this one slide where it is about the grassroots research advocacy movement. We have collaborated with them for establishing rural livelihoods in India. And also we have transferred two products, the convenience flour suitable for stiff porridge, and also the malted weaning food. And also at the same time, we have provided training to these women entrepreneurs. So the support which CFTRI can offer is, suitable training for self-help groups covering the processing techniques and micronutrient fortification protocols, as well as CFTA also can provide suitable solutions for menu fatigue. I think yesterday there was a lot of discussion about the menu fatigue as well, and also how to maintain the quality of THR. So CFTA can help in these areas, and CFTR also can help in establishing a model self-help group, capacity building and training programs on food safety, hygiene and good manufacturing practices. So in conclusion, I just would like to add that given this program's broad outreach and established presence in communities across the country, there is always an opportunity to improve the nutrition for the millions of beneficiaries who are consuming these take-home rations. Thank you very much, and you can contact us on our email IDs I have just put up. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. B. Satyamala, for a lively presentation. Thank you so much.
Afternoon, and let us go for the valedictory session of the two-day state conclave on THR. Successfully, I believe we have conducted all the presentations, all the sessions. Thank you so much, everyone from
All the states and institutions for participating so well, keeping it so engaging. And now we come to the concluding ceremony. We do have the honor of having our honorable chief guest for the valedictory session. Let me have the privilege of welcoming our esteemed Development Commissioner cum Additional Chief Secretary, Water Resources, Government of Odisha, Mrs. Anu Garg, Madam, to the stage, please, with a round of applause. Ma'am, namaskar and welcome on the stage. I would invite our special guests to the stage along with Madam. We do have Miss. Welcome, Madam. Please have your seat. We will welcome Miss Marie Claude Desilets, Chief Nutrition UNICEF India, to the stage to take her seat on the dais. I would also welcome on the stage Ms. Nozomi Hashimoto, Deputy Country Director, UN World Food Programme India, to kindly breathe with us on the stage, please. I would welcome our esteemed Principal Secretary, Women and Child Development Department, Srimati Shubha Sarma, IAS, Madam, to the stage, please. I would also invite our Director, ICDS and SW, WNCD Department, Government of Odisha, Ms. Monisa Banerjee, to the stage, please. A warm welcome to all the dignitaries on the dais. We are waiting for the presence of Miss Marie Claude. And what lovely sight to see all the beautiful and strong ladies on the dais for all the guests. Welcome, ma'am. Please have your seat. Thank you so much. Now we have seen Miss Marie and Miss Nozomi chairing all the sessions, but we haven't heard from them. How about we start with their words and their views on the conclave. First of all, I would request Miss Marie Claude Desilets, Chief Nutrition UNICEF India, to kindly share her views on the two-day conclave, please.
Check. Hi. Okay. Good morning.
I'm very sorry. Before we go for the first remarks by Miss Marie, may I request our esteemed Principal Secretary to kindly present an Uttariya and planter to our honorable guest, Mrs. Anu Garg, on the stage to welcome her to the valedictory session, please. A very good afternoon and a warm welcome, Madam, to the session. We are so happy that you could come beforehand and attend two sessions, two presentations as well. Thank you so much. Please have your seats. Now, I would request Ms. Marie Claude Desilets to kindly share her views about the two-day conclave.
So, I was saying good morning, but we are already afternoon, so good afternoon, everybody. It's getting close to lunchtime. I'm getting hungry. So I took note of some key points, I think, that were of interest of this very dynamic workshop. Many ideas were exchanged, innovative ideas. One of the key points that came was really the need to recommend to national level the revision of these cost norms that are affecting every state and limiting you in revising the recipes and offering better product to the children and women. So this was a key recommendation, I think that everybody will agree. Others were also the need to think a bit more together and explore different ways of reaching the hard-to-reach areas for which you struggle to deliver to the last miles, to the beneficiaries who are the most in need. I don't know, I had many questions, but I did not ask them, so I will ask them, but I don't expect answers now. But Coca-Cola, soap companies, they reach this population very easily. Why we cannot? Could we do some partnerships with them? I'm not agreeing with Coca-Cola. That's not what I'm saying. But they have a super logistic mean that maybe we need to explore. Soap companies also, they reach these areas. If Coca-Cola is not the good one, soap may be a better idea to promote the hygiene at the same time. Some examples were given about community partnership also to reach these areas. So what are the different means that could be explored a bit more to address the needs of our to-reach population? There were some key words from SIF this morning about innovative mechanism for financing that could be sought by some states to improve the take-home ration and also to value at the same time the self-help groups and engagement, empowerment and their engagement in nutrition. However, there were limitations also that were mentioned with the self-help groups. But they remain a tremendous opportunity for a social and behavior change communication also that we still need to consider. Different approaches, innovative approaches were discussed with some, for example, with the small fish powders in some areas. The QR code that some of you are initiating slowly with different challenges, maybe it needs to be continued to be explored. Preconception THR package that is being considered or tried in Karnataka, among others. So this experience, I think, would be a nice learning from everybody. And I will stop there because maybe I don't want to say everything. I need to leave some for others. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Marie-Claude Deslets, for your views. Now, I would request Ms. Nozomi Hashimoto, Deputy Country Director, UN World Food Programme India, to kindly speak a few words to the gathering. And if at all, ma'am, you may use the podium as well.
Let me follow Marie and then stay from here. But thank you very much. And once again, all the dignitaries, I really feel honored, and it was such a pleasure to be part of this 1.5-day conclave here. It was very inspiring, and as the name suggests, I felt like there was a lot of lively new ideas coming up, and since Marie already summarized very nicely all the key points that came up, I'm not going to repeat, but I really felt the power of gathering together and exchanging in a very open-minded way. And then I feel like this kind of venue will be having a much powerful voice, hopefully to influence at the national level policy as well. So in that sense, I really congratulate the government of Odisha as well as UNICEF to have coordinated such a wonderful event. And as WFP, we would be very keen to remain part of the partners here to contribute continuously. And then I'm very curious how this can go further to make big changes all together. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you so much, Ms. Nozomi Hashimoto, for the beautiful words. Both of yours and Ms. Marie's presence have been very kind and beautiful. Thank you so much. Now, may I request our esteemed Principal Secretary, Department of Women and Child Development, Odisha, Srimati Shubha Sharma, to present her address. And in that, she will be covering the summary, and she will also talk about the way ahead. Madam, please.
Thank you, Shobna. respected Development Commissioner and Additional Chief Secretary, Madam Anu Garg, who, as most of you might know, is regarded as some kind of an expert in the cadre as well as a national level because of the long years of work that she has put in this sector, both in health, in women and child development, and in her capacity in different positions. It is a privilege to have you here, ma'am, because you have seen this sector grow, and many of the best practices that Monisha showed you yesterday on the first day are actually ma'am's brainchild, and she has grounded them. And we have benefited tremendously from her guidance because she comes with a wealth of experience and insight in this sector. Ma'am, today we are privileged to have with us representatives of different state governments. I'll just read out the names in alphabetical order. We have the Principal Secretary from Assam, Chhattisgarh, Gujarat, Jharkhand, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Principal Secretary from Uttar Pradesh, Government of Telangana, Rajasthan, and Odisha here. So ma'am, we are 10 states here, and we are joined by experts such as the National Institute of Nutrition, AMUL, World Food Programme, Central Food Technological Research Institute, Mysore, and various civil society partners, prominent of whom are UNICEF, Azim Premji Foundation, WNCD's other partners, Vasan, Samagra, and the philanthropic organization CIF. We also have participants from other line departments of the government of Orissa. Ma'am, over the last 1.5 days, we have had very, very productive and fruitful discussions. And this did not feel like a heavy, boring government workshop. I think everybody was very engaged, alive, and wanting to understand what is happening in other parts. We found some common threads and challenges. The most important was how each state is finding ways to make the best out of the limited resources which Mari has already flagged. Some state governments are topping up, but a large number are somehow restricting themselves and trying to do a great job. Mari also referred to the difficult, hard to reach areas, and almost all the states present here flagged the issue of difficult geographies and difficult areas to deliver ICDS services, especially THR. We had many points that were raised. Primary was menu fatigue, quality control, and this debate of centralized versus decentralized and the pros and cons of each. They also provided certain suggestions which we plan to share with the ministry. One, Mari has already flagged the cost norms. Second, very interesting, I think it was from Karnataka or from Chhattisgarh, that no GST should be imposed on this because this is a basic nutritional entitlement and not a for-profit activity. Covering the moderately malnourished children along with the SAM children, not waiting for the MAM to convert into the SAM before we start taking corrective action. And capacity building of the ICDS machinery, especially the Anganwadi workers who are at the cutting edge. Apart from this, ma'am, some extremely interesting practices that came out. Assam gives Nutri kits to children once they are discharged from the NRC centers, and they have a specific protocol on how during disasters, which I thought was very relevant for Orissa also, we should have child-friendly spaces and breastfeeding corners. They also run an internship program for Anganwadi workers for 6 months. Gujarat has a state-level command and control center for managing their THR entire tracking, and they also have some excellent software. In fact, all states are using technology in some form or the other. Some have graduated to the QR code level, others are still at the software level. NABL certified labs, because everybody is struggling with limited capacity for testing. So Chhattisgarh has introduced also private partners who are empaneled, and Karnataka has FSSAI visiting their THR production units to ensure that basic hygiene and quality is maintained. They also have some THR units certified by BIS, which I thought was very exemplary. Madhya Pradesh has a nutrition dashboard for the Chief Minister, Chief Secretary and Additional Chief Secretary, and they managed to bring malnourishment into the mainstream discourse so that the CM is also aware and monitoring. Amol engages with very innovative IEC strategy. In fact, he relayed an example wherein when we were all grappling with the issue that these nutrition entitlements are consumed not only by the target population but also by the entire household when there is deficiency of food. So they mentioned when they give something for pregnant women, they say it increases milk production. So obviously the other family members hesitate in consuming that. And they also had a couple of other very interesting, like flavored milk, so it can't be used for making tea and all. Ota Babu from Odisha, our own expert on tribal communities, gave a very insightful lecture today on how we should incorporate the natural diet and the natural traditional foods of tribal communities into our hot cooked meal or take home ration. World Food Programme flagged the issue of the excessive calories that we may be feeding to our children. UP ma'am has a very interesting model where they both have a centralized system and a decentralized system, and they are engaging SHGs for distribution of their THR. Rajasthan again is using QR codes. Ma'am, you briefly saw the Telangana Foods presentation. I think my biggest takeaway from their presentation was how they have managed to make huge savings by using technology. CFTRI laid the whole menu for us, and I have missed 2-3 states because yesterday I had to rush for a VC, so my apologies to you, I could not get your main points. Where do we go from here? So we plan that this entire, in fact, conclave has been video recorded thanks to our partner UNICEF, and all sessions will be available online. So we will be sharing the link with all the participants, and we urge you to disseminate it further so that whoever is interested can read that. We will also compile all the presentations and the main key insights and come out with a comprehensive document that we will send to the ministry in terms of suggestions. Above all, as from the state government of Odisha, this was very important for us because we are looking at making our THR more qualitative. It is already doing well, but how to improve it further. And maybe, since there is such positivity and good response from everyone, we could look at having similar conclaves. We are happy to host it here on other issues also which are of common interest to the Department of Women and Child Development across the country. Before I end, ma'am, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to UNICEF, to William and his entire team, especially Saurabh. They have stepped in and supported this conclave, and I think all participants had a very comfortable stay. So thank you so much, William, and we look forward to more partnerships in future. Thank you everyone for your participation.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Madam Shubha Sharma, for the lovely address and for summing it up so beautifully. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me have the honor of requesting our Honorable Chief Guest for the valedictory session, esteemed Development Commissioner cum Additional Chief Secretary, Water Resources, Government of Odisha, Srimati Anu Garg IAS, to kindly present the valedictory address to the August gathering present. Madam Garg.
Thank you. It's always so good to come to any WCD function. I see so many familiar faces each time. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasure for me to be here. And the only problem is that whenever you come for a valedictory, most of the things have already been said. And when you come before lunch, the interest of the participants is somewhere else. But nonetheless, let me try to engage you, give you some food for thought. This process which was initiated is, I think, required for all schemes of the government, because very often we get stuck. We keep doing the thing and we like to do it well, but to be able to devote one full day for one scheme is a luxury, and my colleagues will agree with me, for any of us to actually think what are the possibilities, what everybody else is doing, and then to be able to come up with some changes. So that is why that status quo continues, and we all kind of revel in the inertia and just keep going. So I'm very happy that WCD department along with UNICEF thought of this and have been able to get so many participants, and such interesting suggestions have come. And I think all of you will benefit, even if we are able to tweak our whatever existing thing we are doing and we are able to get one extra thing done. That itself will be a big change for good governance. So anytime, all these are very iterative. We keep on changing. I remember so many years back, when first we started discussing, we realized that first thing is that our take-home ration is not even reaching in time. And the biggest problem was that it was not even being produced in time for it to reach in time. And that is when we had started with the fixed day approach, where on a fixed day across the state, all the self-help groups who were manufacturing would manufacture. The idea was that you can monitor it much better. Anyone can reach on that day knowing that this is the day, and the transparency will be better. Also, then you knew that this will be manufactured on this day. So the question of any other hanky-panky that we had prepared, we had sent it, all that will not be there. And then on first, we said distribution also fixed day. So these were just some process engineering changes, and which are now steadily being replaced by a lot of IT interventions, QR codes, etc. And then you realize that there is literally many a slip between the cup and the lip. So when you are giving the food to the child, lot of questions used to come to my mind. What we are giving, is it the correct thing? I mean, in terms of nutrition, we are thinking it is something really good, but is it just the correct thing? Are the proportions right? Whatever we are giving, is the quality okay? And then you realize that it is not. Because as somebody was mentioning, sometimes the way we roast, or the way we store, or the way we pack, the way we handle, so many things, or even when wheat is soaked, the water in which it is soaked, where it is dried, how it is dried, so many things. So sometimes it makes you wonder, and the basic stock which you are using, so many things are there which can go wrong. And then finally the baby. Is the baby in a position to accept what you are giving? We just continue to give the same thing again and again, but babies are different. So is that baby able to, जो कहते हैं कि ग्रहण कर पाता है कि नहीं? So those are things also we don't see. We just say, "Bhai, this is it," and you go ahead and do. And then take-home ration, the biggest criticism has always been that it is eaten by others, eaten by everybody else. So I think these type of techniques that it will lead to increased milk production and things like that, this is very nice. But more importantly, training of mothers, training of fathers. I don't know if some of you remember, we had that campaign to involve the dads. So we used to call it mainstreaming. And mainstreaming men in nutrition. They need to play a part also. That this food is for the baby and for the mother and for the adolescent girl, as the case may be. And they need to be sensitized also, which we sometimes skip. Our focus is mother, our focus is adolescent girl, focus is babies. But the fathers also need to be mainstreamed, and they need to be told that they need to play a much, much bigger role in nutrition. And creches, we have seen in our state, have been very useful. Creche, a lot of people associate only with female workforce participation rate going up. I see it as a means of nutrition. Because here, in the presence of the creche supervisor, all small babies actually will get what they were supposed to get in the right amount, hopefully right quality, hopefully right handling, right amount to the right baby. All those things which can be supervised there can be done. So, in fact, in my academy, the essay which we were asked to write those articles, I had written on creche as a means to mainstream nutrition. And so that is another very good way. Then Pada Pushti, I think you must have mentioned. A lot of people have Pushti Sakhis, where you have these adolescent girls helping. We can think of Pushti Panchayats, where we can, give prizes to panchayats that ensure that there is not a single severe acute malnourished child, or they take care. We can have some criteria fixed. Those are some of the other things that we can do. Another idea which I'm leaving you all with is that very often we club 0 to 3 children who get this take-home ration together. But maybe the 6 months to 1 year child needs something different. 1 to 2 needs different. 2 to 3 needs different. So is there a appetite? I'm using all the food related words I know. Is there appetite amongst us to kind of think about that also? And for example, in our state, when we were discussing, when we had this millet mission, and that we were the first to pounce on them to get a millet laddu for our children. But again, the question is, was that the right size of laddu, right quality was it made? Was the storage okay? Packaging okay? We don't know. I mean, these are things which are so dispersed that we don't know whether it is the right thing, but we have to keep trying. We had tried another experiment, which I think UNICEF will recall, with world fish, because we are a fish-eating state. So we had said that we will make dried fish powder and put it in the food of the children. So we had started a small little pilot, and we had found good positive results also. Only thing is how to now take it forward, if at all. So that is something that can be actually taken as a pilot in fish eating states. And with so much of, fish being such a good source of, so many vitamins. And Kerala is here. So they have done some very good work, I believe, in putting micronutrients, and also the cost also, I think they give 18 rupees or something. So, so that is another very good experiment for all of us to see. But I'm genuinely really, really happy that we are all talking about this. So many new ideas have come, and I think we can take it up with the Ministry of WCD. My colleague Anil is there. I will talk to him also if there are any changes that can be made at that level. But I sincerely believe that if we want to make the change, we can make it here. And all of you can, in your different ways. It doesn't need to be one single way. We can do it in multiple ways. We can do it in multiple ways across geographies, across categories of people. And the biggest challenge, but for all of us, and this we have learned the hard way, is geographies, hard to reach areas. And that anytime anything happens, like recently we had some death of people who ate mango kernel. So there is a lot of controversy which is going on. But the biggest point there always is whether our other things reach the people properly or not. And that is something that we will all have to, so that is a governance issue which we need to focus on. So I'm very happy there have been policy discussions, some governance discussions, IT-enabled ideas, and I hope that all of you would implement in your respective states, and whatever has to be done at the policy level, we will also take up with the ministry and see what can be achieved. So with that, I wish you all the very best, and I hope that we will together make take-home ration a very, very good, nutritious thing for our children and for the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, madam, for the
Yes, thank you so much once again. Now I would request our Additional Secretary, Department of Women and Child Development, Odisha, Shri Nityananda Barik, to offer the vote of thanks for the valedictory session, please.
Respected DC cum SS ma'am, Principal Secretary ma'am, Director ma'am, CPM sir, Deputy Country Director WPP, Principal Secretary Assam sir, Principal Secretary UP ma'am, Commissioner Secretary from other states and all the dignitaries who are present here. On behalf of the Department of WCD, I am honored to extend my heartfelt gratitude to each one of you for your invaluable presence and contributions during this 2-day state conclave on THR. I am grateful to DC ma'am for delivering valedictory speech. Ma'am, really we are very happy to have you. All the department staff who are here, we are very happy to see the ma'am. Ma'am was in our department for a long time and everybody knows ma'am has a special interest for empowerment of the women and the well-being of the children also. As our Principal Secretary ma'am told, most of the ideas were brainchild of the our DC ma'am. Ma'am's idea of fixed day approach, that is mixing of THR on 23rd of every month and distribution of THR on 1st of every month is being followed meticulously now. You are present here ma'am. You have given very valuable suggestions that will be helpful for our department to go ahead, as well as the Principal Secretary and other state representatives, that will be also helpful for their state also. To our Principal Secretary, I extend my deepest appreciation for your leadership throughout this conclave ma'am. Your dedication has been crucial to the success of each session, ensuring that discussions remain focused and impactful. Ma'am has briefed the total idea of this conclave thoroughly. And her idea will be definitely not only be helpful for our state, that will be also helpful for other states also who are present here. Most of the ideas we have taken, that will be discussed in the future, and will reach at the a definite conclusion what our minister ma'am wants or what our state wants. I am also thankful to our director ma'am for coordinating this event, sharing the best practices of our state and setting the context of this conclave. I am thankful to the respected representative from UNICEF, WFP, APF and other national partners who brought their expertise to this platform. Your global perspectives and innovative solutions are invaluable as we seek to strengthen THR initiative in Odisha. Special thanks to the state representative from Assam, Chhattisgarh, Gujarat, Jharkhand, Karnataka, MP, UP, Rajasthan and Telangana for sharing their experiences and insights. The presentations and discussions have been truly enlightening and will certainly guide us in addressing challenges and scaling best practices. I would also like to acknowledge the efforts of our partners from NIN, AMUL, CFTRI, NIT and other institutions who contributed their technical expertise and THR innovations and monitoring mechanisms. Your inputs have been invaluable in envisioning a more efficient and effective approach to THR distribution and impact assessment. To all the facilitators, coordinators and support staff, thank you for your dedication and ensuring the smooth conduct of this conclave. Special thanks to Saurabh and their team for helping us to make this conclave successful. Thank you once again, and let us continue working together towards a healthier, more nourished future for our children and communities. Thank you all.
Thank you, Shri Parikh, for the warm vote of thanks. Here we come to the end of the two-day conclave, state conclave on THR, when it is about the young girls, would-be moms, pregnant ladies and lactating women, and especially today's babies and tomorrow's future. We all have a very important role to play. I believe this is just the beginning, and thank you very much everyone for coming to Odisha, and we have had a wonderful exchange of ideas, and I would surely hope under the leadership and guidance of our Honorable Chief Guest and our Principal Secretary and all our dignitaries present over here, we would be able to implement all the wonderful ideas in today's times and tomorrow as well. Thank you so much everyone. Here we come to the end of the session. Thank you so much dignitaries for your presence. We can come down the stage, and thank you so much to all the state representatives, participants, our esteemed invitees. This is Shobna Mishra, your host, wishing you have a great day. And please come back to Odisha, Bhubaneswar whenever you feel like, whenever you have the time, not only for conference but also for a family visit as well. Now I would request everyone to kindly proceed for the lunch. Have a great day today, now onwards. Thank you so much. Namaskar. Jai Jagannath.